Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. You have made it to the safe space. Thank you for joining us. This podcast is brought to you by 52s and Smoke Entertainment. If you go to our YouTube page, you can check out all the shows that 52s and Smoke produces. We have Fantasy Outsiders starting up. First episode of the second season has just been released. Made with Real is also on the market for anybody interested for the urban black man take on the world. But this here is the safe space. Go follow us at Instagram. Check us out on Spotify. We're on iTunes, iHeartRadio, CastBox. Everywhere you get podcasts, you'll find 52s and Smoke's catalog. But now let's get into the show, man. We back at the safe space. Everybody's here. All of them are favorite people. Hey, who we got around the table? We got my man, Mezzy. What's up, man?
What's up?
Dumpling, what's good with you?
Hello.
Timbo Slice is back with us once more.
Hello.
And Mandy Bugs is still here. How are you, sweetie?
How am I? I'm good. I mean, I'm good, but I'm also like really sad.
Oh, why are you so sad?
Because the Amazon rainforest is on fire.
Yeah, it is. You know what's funny? I didn't hear about it until like 2 days ago.
No, yeah, that's
And I
pretty
heard
much
it been
everyone.
happening for, like,
I didn't even hear
For a
about
long
it.
time.
I thought it's been like years. Like it's always been like an ongoing thing, right? Back and
yeah,
forth.
the Amazon is usually on fire
Is it?
because of
Yeah.
slash and burn farming, cattle farming mostly. Basically, the way that they clear land in the Amazon, which they do very frequently, is by lighting the forest on fire and then just it's quicker than just cutting the trees down.
Why are we cutting them down?
For cattle farming. That's the main.
So the world
beef-
doesn't give a shit.
No, the world does not give a shit about literally
So
the
they can
lungs of our planet.
Import it into
Like,
America.
I don't know
The
if
rest of the world.
I hope that you guys realize this, but I don't know how many people truly realize that if the Amazon rainforest collapses, we will die. It doesn't matter how far away you are from the Amazon. The Amazon supplies 20% of the world's oxygen, and 20% of the world's fresh water. And countless cures and medicine come from the Amazon. It is the most biodiverse place on land, and 30% of all species live there. I mean, just like I could keep going and going, but basically with a growing population, like how are we going to do with 20% less oxygen? You know what I mean? And plus it's a huge carbon sink for obviously climate change, carbon emissions and stuff like that. So it is like, it's not just like South America's what is the word I'm looking for?
Privilege? Problem?
Prerogative? Is that a
Provocative?
Prerogative?
Prerogative.
Prerogative.
Wow.
I knew I was saying
Bobby
it wrong.
Brown.
I was sounding smart for like a whole minute there. Prerogative to protect the Amazon. It's literally the entire world's prerogative. And a lot of countries actually like give aid to the Amazon every year because they see its worth. And so it's usually on fire, like you're saying. And forest fires can be natural for some fires. Like here in Georgia, we have longleaf pine forests, and every year they get really dry and the lightning strikes. And then there's actually natural burn cycles, which is healthy for the forest. But the Amazon does not burn naturally because it's so wet and it's so damp and humid there that it doesn't burn naturally. And when they do slash and burn farming, since it gets out of control really fast, the rains will put it out. But because of climate change, the Amazon's drier than it's ever been before.
Is that kind of like the California fires?
Yeah. So they're not able to naturally put it out because a lot of people are like, well, why can't the fire people just put it out? And I'm like, because
the firemen in the
y'all
rainforest?
really think that like we're just going to stand down there with like a bunch of hoses and put out a huge forest fire that, to give you an example of how vast this fire is, it spans from going from, I think I heard from England to Athens, Greece. Like it's that far, if not further right now. And it stretches like all the way across the country.
Interesting place to compare. They
And
could have picked
I just heard it like in statistics, but
Or
basically
something in America where we
or like
understand that
Africa or something.
that's the thing is like so many people are like, like they don't, there's a quote that is like the most dangerous worldview is of those who have not viewed the world. Because like they think that everything just revolves around them. But the truth of the matter is like without the ocean, without the Amazon rainforest, life on Earth will collapse. And so it's basically like
the ocean like
we're doomed.
80% of the planet, or is it pretty
the
high?
ocean gives us 50% of our oxygen. So basically you can
No,
think
I mean
about it
like in terms of like.
oh yeah,
as
no,
a
it's
whole.
70% of the
Covers
planet.
70%.
Yeah, we blue on a blue planet for sure. And yeah, the
Pale
ocean
blue
gives
dot.
us 50% of our oxygen. So I always like to think of it as like literally every other breath you take is made possible by the ocean. And
I always,
every 5.
I mean, but when I hear shit like this, I'm like, at some point in time, human beings are gonna.
We're not
going
gonna
to
make it.
And that's my
We're not
kid's
gonna
been
make
saying
it.
that all
Yeah.
week. Yeah, we're all gonna die soon.
Yeah.
Blah, blah blah. And I'm like, okay, I understand.
As a species,
it's
yeah.
bleak, but it's like, at what point do we do something? This goes into
So who has the
global warming and shit like that.
No, yeah,
who
we
has the
have to do
privilege
something.
to do that?
Exactly. It's like
We can all. What kind of money do we have? You know.
Well,
it has to
that's
be the
the
people
thing.
that are denying it.
it's really sad because I'm a wildlife conservationist. I dedicate my life to saving endangered species, and I went down to the Amazon and like was there and was helping in any way I could, and like even me as a person, I'm a vegan. I try to be as sustainable as possible. I almost never use plastic, but I'm still not doing much, even though my entire life basically revolves around being as good to the planet as possible. At the end of the day, yes, like individual change is really important. Like if we all eat less meat, that is going to be huge because right now we are just consuming and producing meat on too wide of a scale. And that is the main cause of deforestation. And the meat industry actually contributes more to climate change than the entire transportation system of the world. So while they say like, oh, you shouldn't fly, oh, you get a fuel efficient vehicle, ride your bike, really the best thing you can do in that sense is to just eat less meat. I don't expect everybody to go vegan, but I do expect people to realize that we're eating too much of it. However, even if we do everything right, the fact of the matter is that the corporations and the rich people and the governments are destroying the planet. And unless they change, we're fucked. It doesn't matter how much we do. Yes, we have power as consumers. Yes, we can stop buying certain things until they change their game. Kind of like how you see Burger King, starts to have like the Impossible Whopper.
Which is pretty good, by the way.
It tastes just like.
Can I ask a question?
No, you can tell it's not a real burger, but it's good enough
It's like,
where you
it's
don't have to have a real burger.
for real.
What is it made of?
I have no
It's
idea.
made of plant protein.
Pea protein.
Yeah.
was
pea,
called
pea
Beyond
protein.
or
So not
Impossible?
soy.
The
It's made of
Impossible
pea
burger.
protein.
Yeah,
Impossible.
I think the Beyond.
The Beyond is made of beets.
No,
another
no.
plant.
The Beyond is. I think it has pea protein, but also has soy.
Like
but
a little
the
bit.
Impossible Burger has like beets to make it be like bloody.
No, that's the Beyond Burger, Matt. The Impossible Burger has a little bit of soy, a little bit.
None of it has meat, and it's better for everybody.
Yeah,
So choose
it's better
one
for the
and eat it.
planet. And so there's lots of stuff that we can do. But at the end of the day, I think the saddest thing is like the oil corporations right now, what's happening with climate change and what's happening in Brazil with the government is completely and utterly akin and comparable to what happened with the tobacco industry. So like I read tons of books. I've done lots of research on climate change. It was one of my focuses in college. And basically you can go back and look at the way that, because like back in the 40s and the 30s, we found out that cigarettes cause cancer, but scientists were literally paid off and barred from sharing that information with the public because of the tobacco industry, because of the power that they had. And it took us like 30, 40 years to really get the information to the public of how harmful it was. But by that time, so many people had cancer that could have quit if they had known early on. Yeah, and so right now, a lot of governments and a lot of corporations are in the pocket of like the meat industry and the oil industry. And so they're spreading this misinformation that it's a hoax and that it's a lie. Like the tobacco industry, you look back at like the 60s and there used to be commercials with doctors that would literally say like, these are my favorite.
The Marlboro ones?
Like these are my favorite cigarettes and they're actually good for you.
Well,
it's just crazy.
Every government, well, not every government, our fucking government since the beginning of time has all been about profit anyway. So they'll market anything
All
without
money.
enough information as long as they're getting paid and all of that shit like that. My question really is, I want to know how y'all feel. Why the fuck does no one care?
Right. No,
Because literally you can go down, half the people don't even know. When I found out about it, all I could think was, I don't trust the firemen to put this shit out before it's too late.
They're not
I don't
going
think
to.
it's that people don't care. Just I think people know that even if they care, they can't do the change that needs. So like, say all of us were like, hey, we want to do something to change. It's like, we can spread, share the knowledge on like social media or people or whatever. Right. But the money is unfortunately what's going to make it change. Right. So I feel like if we had leaders, specifically, it's one of those things where like even if like our president was the one that was like for it, that's still only 4% of the whole population of the world. Right. So they'd have to have like the leaders as a whole, which again they're all part of the Climate Act, the Paris one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We're the only ones that are not in there.
What the fuck are they doing? Are they not attacking the situation? Like who knows these? I don't know. I don't know.
It's the president of Brazil right now.
If you were the president or you had some sort of power, what would you do?
What would I do?
Yeah, what's the first few things that you would do?
They have all these connections to lobbyists and to...
Well, lobbyists are the worst.
Yeah, they are totally the worst. But still, like, basically, they have all of these connections and it's such a deep-rooted thing where, like, all of this money that's going into people's campaigns or going into like special interest groups from, again, the oil and the meat industry that's telling them like, hey, this isn't a problem, right? This isn't a problem. This isn't going to be a problem.
What about dairy? Would that be in there?
Dairy too, absolutely.
Because dairy
it's all
eventually
cattle.
becomes
Yeah,
meat.
it's the cattle industry. The cattle,
I
like,
don't understand how you can be a corporation and like, okay,
No.
all of the little scientific things and shit that's going on,
Right.
people not listening to. But when you see an entire forest
they
on
know
fire,
for
right?
a fact
You see the fire,
what they're doing.
You see the forest on fire.
Right.
You see this is happening. Nobody acts. Like, I haven't heard anything. I'm about to try to look up something that somebody
Basically-
did. But as far as I know,
No.
nobody's banding together corporations and putting billions of dollars together to go try to stop this fire
there's like,
when it can change the outlay of our world.
they don't
period.
care about the future. A lot of these men are old and they're running these corporations and they don't care.
I got 2 years left. I'm good.
That like that, like the best example, literally today, was it David Koch who died? What's his name? Koch?
David
One of the
Koch?
Koch
The Koch
brothers
brothers, yeah, one of
died.
the Koch brothers
He kicked
died
the
today.
fucking can. We are fucking celebrating it. Like everybody in the world is like, woo, yay. Because he was one of the proponents for like the oil industry and like all of these really, really harmful industries. He is literally
Yeah.
the evil villain
But
in the
I
Marvel
thought about
movie
it. I
that's
thought
trying to
about it.
destroy the
Even
world.
though he died, whatever his lineage is, you don't
Not
think
gonna
they're
die.
doing the same
No,
thing?
that's
He's
it.
trying to keep
Fucked
the
up.
money
Oh, yeah.
going.
And
It's
there's
$1 billion.
They're not going to change.
It's
They're
a
not going to say,
family.
"Oh, I'm doing different than dad." No, dad got all his fucking money. I'm
Right.
doing the same shit.
No, but like
it's
it
already
just
ingrained in them.
goes to show
Kind of like Walmart. They're not going to just change. Like, I don't
just-
want to have a Walmart
like
anymore.
goes to show that these people live among us and we're not rallying against them. We're not like calling the Avengers. We are literally
That'd be
living
cool if we
among
could.
like the villains from every fucking comic book who are literally destroying the world. And there's like a couple of like, ways that I try to justify it, like with myself, like what you were saying, like, why don't people care? I think a lot of it is emotional fatigue. It's really, really hard. Like, what can we do? If I care as much as possible, which I am, I'm, posting on my Instagram all the time. I'm trying to educate people and I'm letting it eat away at my soul and I'm tossing and turning at night and I can't do enough. Like, I'm not rich. I can throw $20 at my friends down in the Amazon who are literally on the front lines. One of my good friends is literally posting videos of himself standing in front of these fires. And there's nothing that he can do. And he's down there. So I'm like, what can I fucking do? And so it's just at the end of the day, all it's doing is eating away at my soul. And my entire fucking soul feels like it's on fire. And that's all. So like, I understand why people aren't letting it get to them as much as possible. Like, I can't help how much I feel for this issue.
I think
so
it also has to do
that
with
sucks.
like understanding what's actually happening. So like trying to equate something like I would care about, like say something with like music or something, right? Say like a specific genre of music was like dying, and it's a very
Right.
like say like
Think about Notre Dame, Matt.
yeah, no, yeah, okay, but like something that I really understand and I care and other people care about, but it's like. I feel people like, oh, that sucks. That
Right, like, say they're, like,
the
trying to
Amazon's
ban-
going down, but they don't really understand like how much
yeah.
that actually means.
It's like say if like a ban went into effect about video games because of like the old white people basically who think that video games are bad.
Oh yeah, of course.
And say like
That's
that
a good example.
ban
That's a good
went
example.
into effect, like a lot of people would be out in the streets rallying because video
I
games
would.
mean
I'd
a
be
lot
on the
to
front
them.
line, man.
Yeah. And so I get that. And,
I've been playing video games since I was 6, and I don't want to harm.
Right.
I harm as many people as I want. None.
I want to put out a couple of things to do. Like you said, reduce your beef intake. Number one is something they say you can do. Of course, reduce your paper and wood consumption because this is why they're cutting down the fucking trees.
well, it's mostly for the beef, but
It's mostly for
you
beef,
know,
but also they use
paper and
this
wood.
wood for the really expensive, nice thing.
yeah,
nice
mahogany,
furniture and shit like
any
that.
tropical wood, because
Exactly.
like not every wood comes from the Amazon, not every paper comes from the Amazon, and not every burger comes from the Amazon. But if we can,
Why?
stop our dependency.
Question.
Yeah.
Sorry. If we're importing like cattle,
We are
or
importing
beef,
a lot of beef.
What about? Okay, this is probably a stupid question, but what about American cattle?
Let me tell you.
Like, what about like?
Just like I'll give you the short long of it. It costs more because we have more regulations for producing beef here than it does to import it from countries that
our
have
own
almost
country.
no
Right.
regulations, and they save on the cost of farms and this that because they just set the forest
so basically,
on fire.
that's why like our technology's developed here, but it's made in China. 'Cause
right. It's actually it's the
fucking-
same thing.
It's regulations
And-
because they
imports
can
and stuff
they
like
can
that.
Another
spend
really
less on the
interesting-
workers, things like
That's
that.
all they're looking for.
Another really interesting
Save a
thing
buck.
about beef is that they are allowed in the United States. They are allowed to put a label on that beef that says "Made in the USA" if it was packaged in the USA.
Right.
So basically, a very small portion of our beef actually comes from the those types of farmers. So I'm a vegan. I'm not a crazy vegan. I don't expect everybody to go
You've
vegan.
only said it 4 times.
I know. And I'm saying it again because I
kidding.
want people to know that as a vegan, I don't expect or demand everybody else go vegan. I know it's hard. I know that people have dietary stuff. I know that food is an emotional and personal thing. I know it's hard. Everything. So a lot of the time, what you can do that's even better than that is try anytime
Eat
you
a fruit.
can
No, I'm kidding.
to get
Have a
your
vegetable
meat,
once in a while.
Matt. Yeah, fruit and vegetables, obviously awesome, but get your meat from a local farmer. Try to go to the local like butcher, the local slaughterhouse, wherever you go to get your meat, and try to like, I know it's more expensive, but like every once in a while, all you could do is like,
I feel like people just,
and then you're supporting local business, the local economy, the smaller farmers, the family farms, instead of these big, massive factory farms.
Well,
so that's a great thing.
do people want to have like
change
10 pounds of meat on hand though?
It's hard for people to change their behavior.
Exactly.
I'm thinking about
It
people
is.
who
they want that quick food.
they don't care.
Yeah.
It's on the fucking
takes
corner. It's on the
effort.
street corner.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to just change that easy.
Yeah,
So I'm trying to figure out
exactly.
things that people can do that even if they don't change that, they can still
Right,
help.
right.
At some point in time, you're going to have to. And that's
Yep,
going to be...
exactly. It's not gonna be available. We're just
Exactly.
not
It's
gonna-
not going to be
yeah.
available. You're not going to have it. The world is actually going to be falling the fuck apart. You're going to have to do different
Right.
things.
So-
and that's going to be ugly.
Yeah.
It's going to be
Yeah.
ugly for everybody.
What
Yeah.
about like grocery stores and stuff? They're still going to import meat.
Right. Exactly.
So it's like-
they're not going to be able to at some point in time. Is
Yeah.
what I'm saying, and that's
It's
when
gonna
it's
be
going to be
gone.
too late.
Yeah.
When they can't do it anymore, that's the beginning of the crisis. That's the
Right.
beginning of the famine. That's the beginning of the
It
food
really
shortage.
is.
That's the
Yeah.
beginning of the war. That's the beginning
Riots,
of the,
fights,
all
yeah,
that shit.
civil wars, absolutely.
So at some point in time,
Yeah.
we're either going to smarten up now and try to do something, or just wait till that
Right.
time and then you can take care
Yeah.
of it. I hope you got enough guns.
And I
hope
yeah.
you don't get got, because no matter how many
Right.
guns you got, you might get caught slipping
Yeah.
by a bigger group. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
it does, like when it really gets to end of days war shit, as prepared as you are, you don't know what the fuck's going to happen.
Especially, with climate change, it's going to destroy cities. And the thing that boggles my mind is people bringing children into this world, and they bring children into this world, and they do nothing to change their behavior. And it's like you're literally just bringing children into this world to suffer if we're headed the way that we're headed. And so that is like, and another thing that's crazy is that most of the fresh water in the world, you know how we have a freshwater shortage in this
Right.
world, and there's droughts, and sometimes people don't have
think people
access to
know that.
water. They don't. And
didn't know
it's
that.
really
People-
sad.
I didn't
'cause
even know
they're
that, and I live with you.
Basically, like with the climate crisis and with all these environmental crises, the first people who suffer from them are the poor, are the like tribes and the people in Africa right now who literally don't have access to clean water and are getting malaria because they're drinking, or they're getting all of these horrible diseases because they're drinking unclean
Right.
water. And so one of the biggest things that people need to realize is that most of our clean, fresh water is going to cattle. Did you guys know that? Did anybody know that? Most of
didn't
the
know
clean water in the world is used to hydrate cattle and keep them healthy.
I do remember. I think we watched that.
Yep.
Remember, it was
'Cause they're
Michael
a
Moore.
product.
Michael Moore did a whole thing on Flint,
Yeah.
Michigan, and he was like, they had to decide who to give the water to. That's how
Isn't
the
it
whole
cows are the
that's how the whole
people.
shit
Who
started.
do we
Yeah.
give water
Because
to?
they gave the water
Sheesh.
to keep feeding the cattle and the things that they were
Yeah.
raising, as opposed to the people. They switched fresh
Yeah,
water.
Crazy.
they say that. I think it's. I don't remember if it was 60 or like 80 or 90% of the grains in the world go to cattle,
Yeah.
and we have the means to feed 11 billion people.
Yeah, there's obviously
But we give it away to all the
starvation
animals,
crisis.
and then we
Yeah.
eat the animals.
Right.
So it's like you're getting.
So insane. It's like you're eating
Secondary
two
produce.
helpings. And when there's a drought, like in California, for example, they put, limits on how much people can drink water wise, and people can't shower and they can't water their fucking lawn, and they're literally suffering, but there is no limit on the agriculture at all. So it's just that kind of stuff that you got to keep in mind. Like,
I want to move on because it's gonna
Yeah,
be
it's
gonna be a
depressing,
sad
for sure.
spiraling hole of bullshit
For sure.
if we keep doing this. But I do want to tell anybody that is listening, if you're not ready to go vegan or stop eating meat or anything like that, then you can donate to the Rainforest Action Network to try to help. Of course.
I have a group of friends called
you
the
have any other
Jungle
places like that?
Keepers.
Yeah.
Jungle Keepers. You can find them like on Instagram, just Jungle Keepers, or the Rainforest Alliance.
Rainforest Alliance.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So check out the Rainforest Alliance. Check out Rainforest Action Network. If you can't make a change in your life, you could put your money in a better place.
Yeah.
Do you know what they're doing with that money?
They are arming and, well, not arming like with weapons, but they're basically, to give you like just the long short of it, is that there's people in the Amazon, they're from these poor communities, and they're forced to work jobs like logging, like farming, to make money for their families. because there's no money in conservation and protecting the rainforest and ecotourism and stuff like that. These groups, a lot of the time, they employ local people and give them the job and pay them to protect the forest, to do conservation work, to help animals, to save land. They pay people for their land to protect it so that they don't have to cut it down. But basically, they're putting the money into their economy and paying these people and giving them another means of income so that they don't have to become poachers or, again, farmers or, people who are destroying the rainforest to make money for their families. Because at the end of the day, people need to make money. And so, we need to put that money into the pockets of...
Sounds to me like the immediate action is to put out the fires.
You can't. It's impossible.
Who's
you can't.
out there?
Helicopter?
Just like with... No, they're doing all of that. And
you got
just
to pay for it.
Just like, yeah.
Get that.
And just like with the California fires, like everybody's like, why don't you put them out? Those firefighters are dying because they're trying to put them out, but they can't. It's out of control.
Trying.
It's out of control.
Well,
yeah, so
there's
people,
a
of
difference
course...
between putting out a forest fire and a house fire.
How do you do it?
Like,
right, but
you
the
wait until
firefighters
it
are
rains.
legitimately doing. They have aircraft that have buckets at 100 gallons.
Yeah, and it's still not enough.
Of water, and they dump it on
the fire's too big. There's no way that they can put it out right now. They're trying.
Fuck it, let it burn.
Yeah, until
let it burn.
No, they have to.
Okay, but hang on. Let's look at this. We started with the fires, right? And then we talked with let's protect the forests.
Right.
The fire is going out of control. Mm-hmm. That's the problem currently. I understand blah 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 blah. I understand all that, but the current problem is destroying
fix
the fires. So stop the fucking fires.
Yeah,
they're not stupid. Some of the most innovative
them.
people in the world are working on this, and it's just, again, it's totally impossible for the amount of resources that they have to do it. And the government
resources.
The government doesn't care. The government doesn't care. The government is not employing.
But what you're saying is, even if they did care, that we can get the fire out anyway.
That's what I'm saying. So
I think that's where the confusion is.
If the government doesn't care and they're not doing anything about it, then no matter how much money you give, nobody's going to put out the fire.
The fire will go out naturally. It will rain enough in the rainforest.
But the Amazon is like so dense with trees.
Yeah, the trees are
keep going.
Yeah, the trees are going
to. But live wood doesn't catch on fire as fast as dead wood. That's the reason why natural fires are good. It blows away all the dead material and makes way for new growth. Mm-hmm. It's all over the planet. Everybody does it.
Absolutely.
I always thought resources was the issue. Now you're talking about. Do you think every country in the world right now is giving all the resources and helicopters that carry water to go out there? And
That's
stop
what I'm
that?
saying.
That's what I'm saying.
You're telling people who are listening that we'll give money to this. Well, that foundation is great. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm not saying bad.
Right.
They're great, but they're doing what she was saying. They're helping the local people not do this, that, and the third. Those people aren't aiding somebody to pay for a helicopter to go carry hundreds of gallons of water.
Well,
on top
how
of
do you do that?
You can't.
Yeah, there's regulations. The government doesn't want this fire to stop.
I just want to make sure that there is a clear division between what this conversation started and where it's becoming. Right. The conversation became because the fires are going out of control. Now we're talking about saving the planet by saving people or working in the rainforest and not eating more animals.
I'm just talking about donate money to put out the fire.
I'll end it here because I know
doesn't exist.
Move on. But basically,
give me money. I'll do that.
If we put the fires out now, it'll be a Band-Aid.
I'll wire you.
It'll be a Band-Aid. We need to stop the entire the rainforest is only going to get drier with climate change. So we need to try to help stop like the slash and burn farming. So that's that's that. And what I'll say is,
did this fire start naturally?
No, absolutely not. It started by people. People started it.
So people are the problem. Mm-hmm. Let the forest burn. Then 20%.
I thought it was natural.
They burn the forest.
Naturally burn out. Then right?
No, they burn the forest for your meat.
So
and
then it just didn't stop.
Thank you, Burger King.
And usually it stops because it's the rainforest and it rains.
I don't study this like you do.
Okay, so usually the rains put it out. Because the rains are so heavy there that it floods the entire rainforest. It's so heavy that it absolutely puts the fire out. It'll rain enough to put this fire out. It will.
So wait,
but it's so dry there that it's... They're just got to wait till it rains and
get these trees down, and then they couldn't get it down. They're like,
Yeah, pretty much.
Everybody,
that's fucked
do
up.
some fucking research and figure out where we need to put the money so that we could stop it.
I mean,
it is like,
or petition the politicians. Or whatever. This shit is crazy, and I'm telling you, if this doesn't stop and we all can't, I'm just mad at everybody.
Yeah.
But you know what's sad though? You know what's sad?
I don't give a fuck.
If it was a different,
mad at you.
Crazy, especially because
if it was a different,
sad, really crazy.
Huh?
But what I'm trying to say is like, I'm pretty sure they know there's a certain point to where they don't want to burn the whole forest down.
They don't care. No, actually, the president has said.
Do they not care? And they just want to let it burn.
Let me tell you, the president has
said.
said.
Fucking Usher, let it burn. Sorry.
The president of Brazil has said that he thinks the Amazon is a great resource of income for Brazil, and he thinks that the whole thing should be opened up to clear so that they can make money. That's what he's actually said. He said he's one of those people who
tear down Disney World.
He's one of those people who doesn't believe in science. Like he actually.
That's what I wanted.
Last week he fired the head scientist of the government because he came to him and said, "Hey, like that deforestation in the Amazon is up 85% since you came into office, and it's critical, and we need to stop, or else we're going to have dire consequences." He fired him and said he was lying. So that's the president that they're dealing with down there.
Let's get a different twist on this. You got 20% of the oxygen comes from the Amazon, right? So if the Amazon's gone, we have 20% less oxygen, right?
Yes.
So mathematically, we're going to have people who die.
Yeah,
that's good, right?
We're already overpopulated.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking.
Motherfucking boom!
I was like, why not just let it happen and see what goes on? Like, I'm cool with it.
The weak,
it's more
the
than
weak
just
will die off. The strongest will survive. Motherfuckers.
Wait.
That's really
or the rich,
or the animals and
wildlife. It's just so gross. Like especially because it'll be you and your family that dies. Like and
then we die.
We didn't fucked up.
And that's
I'll be dead.
Listen. Would you say the same thing as if the forest burning were here? And you were dying.
And it's just like,
listen, no, stop.
You're right.
If this happened in Washington, D.C.
There's a difference between it being on your homeland.
Because nobody gives a fuck, even though they should.
Across the world. You're right.
It is.
And isn't that shitty? Even
you see it,
they don't see the importance there, but the people that live there and the people that...
We'll all feel it.
Yeah.
They'll feel it.
You remember when L.A. was on fire?
Dude, the smoke from
the people in L.A., fuck all of them.
I understand, but
I have no pity for anybody in LA.
But these are innocent people. They're indigenous tribes that have been living there for centuries.
In the Amazon, not LA, right?
And they are the strongest people.
Amazon,
in the Amazon. And when you're talking about survival of the fittest, do you want to go into the Amazon and try to survive one day? No. Do you want to race this person? Do you want to have a physical fight with these indigenous men, these warriors?
Anybody ever watch Naked and Afraid?
Yeah, seen it.
They're incredible, and they would fight. They would beat you in every fight. It's not survival of the fittest and the strongest. It's survival of the people who are most privileged and have the money and have these places where they can always flee. They can always get to a bunker.
I shouldn't be shamed because I live in a country that's developed. Right,
but you had no choice. No. You were just there.
But I also have no choice and where they're living and what's going on there.
It's all about what we do with our privilege.
That's very true.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like
I know ignorance is not the answer.
That's not a comparison.
But what I'm saying is I can't be shamed because of where I live.
Nobody's
but I also can't be yelled at.
There.
Right, but I'm not it's saying keeping a neutral stance. Like, fuck it, whatever.
Well,
I think that's a perfect stance.
It's not neutral. It's apathy, man. And it's destroying our planet.
You're talking about putting the whole planet in jeopardy.
You're saying fuck it because it doesn't affect
20% area.
Okay, so let's say it's done. Let's say it's done.
Most of the planet.
Let's say it's done. Let's say it burns down. Right? The whole shit burns down, right?
People die of cancer because we get a lot of cancer medications there. It's a snowball. Most of the world's population will die.
I feel like Amanda's talking to a committee and nobody's fucking cares.
I feel like all right, so
it's a good metaphor.
All right, so the Amazon's gone, right? A lot of our medicine comes from there.
Right.
We're not going to find other methods to get this medicine from anywhere else?
No, we don't.
It's literally only from the Amazon. And those plants won't regrow?
We would have done it already.
Those animals?
Hold on, we would have done it already. You think we still going over to the Amazon to get medicine if we could have got it in our own backyard?
Exactly.
No, because it's already there.
But
no, it doesn't grow here.
Right, but we
it doesn't grow here. No.
Okay, so when plants burn, regardless if they're alive or dead, when plants burn, regrowth happens, right?
It's different in the Amazon, but
I don't know.
I tell you what, on my trip to work every day, there's a big old area where they're clearing out for building houses.
And like I said in the beginning,
they've leveled all of the forest, right? It's completely gone. Over the course of a few weeks.
That green shit grows back.
Yeah, and the Earth. Listen, the Earth will rebound. It will always rebound. The Permian
it's
extinction.
A strong, independent black woman. That's why.
The Permian extinction. Over 90% of the life on Earth perished because of the carbon, and it's now we're here. So humans are going to blink out. We basically, if you put the history of the world on a clock, a 24-hour clock. Humans show up just a few seconds before midnight. That's how long we've been here, and that's how long we're going to be here. We might have another couple hundred years, but we're not going to make it. It is in our nature to destroy ourselves.
It's all part of
I don't want to keep telling my kids that. I don't want my kids told me that
but
shit
we
all
can
week.
there is hope. There is hope.
That we're going to die. My fucking 12-year-old daughter looking at me saying like, yeah, we're all going to die.
But I will say,
my 14-year-old, my 15-year-old son,
wrong with that,
we're going to fucking die. We're not going to make it.
They could die in a car accident.
Did you have that mentality when you was 12 that we were all going to die and the world's going to be over? No, you were living your life. You thought you had a future.
Yeah.
You thought you could do anything.
But is she in her room like full blown knees to the chest, shaking back and forth, singing Kurt Cobain songs?
No, but
or
she has.
Is she just?
It's a shitty.
No, but
place for a
sometimes she
kid to
doesn't
be.
feel a reason to be a good person.
Oh, so that's okay.
Yeah. Or like, what's the point? Yeah, everybody's like, what's the point?
Right. Well, let's just go rape and murder and pillage.
The end of the world is not going to end in like 20 years. Like it's like hundreds of years.
Are you sure about that?
That's what she just
But still,
said.
what about like
tomorrow? We're not going to go to the store. And there's going to be no fucking beef.
Listen.
And I'm not going to lose my mind for not having beef.
Tomorrow, no. 10 years from
in
now,
our lifetime?
who's to
Absolutely, absolutely in our lifetime. If we do nothing, if we listen, at the end of the day, and again, I can wrap this up right here, right now. At the end of the day, the apathy, the I don't care, it doesn't affect me. That is what will kill us. That is what it will destroy the planet. We have to care before it affects us. Because
First off, it's not that we have nothing we can do.
That's what I'm. Yeah,
I can give $20 to some jackass
so
across
much
the
we can
world
do.
to employ somebody to stop deforestation, but it's still going to happen.
No, we can
Because
stop.
people who make more money and have more power than us can make those decisions to make that happen.
Hold on. Are you the type to say, I'm not going to vote because it's not going to change anything?
You goddamn
that's
right.
me too.
Oh,
that's,
man.
that's me too.
And you guys are the reason that things are the way that they are.
What? That what? Because we have Trump in
Because
office because we
listen,
didn't vote? Get the fuck out of here.
Humans,
Yeah,
we are
That's
consumers.
absolutely
Dude,
fucking
no.
false.
We are the
It's
consumers.
absolutely false.
Listen.
Oh shit!
Without us, corporations have nothing. They don't have employees. They don't have consumers. We have power as consumers. We can choose which companies we support. We can choose what products
So why
we
aren't
buy.
things changing? Because people
like
not
you
gonna-
guys.
Like us?
I'm
It's
changing it. I'm
Literally.
supporting.
How are you changing it?
I'm supporting sustainable efforts, sustainable companies,
How?
companies that don't use plastic.
You're giving them money.
I'm a vegan.
Okay, no, listen.
I don't
listen.
eat meat.
How about this? I got it. Because I feel like the people with your mentalities, as like, if I'm not going to do it because it's not going to change anything, don't understand the power of a group. You don't
I was going to
understand the
say
power of a
that
group.
all they see is one.
Because you
They don't see
her,
a billion.
She's doing whatever she's doing. You're like, you're not changing anything. It's just you.
Right.
But if everybody at this table was speaking the same thing, you didn't, and then everybody on this block was
Right.
speaking the same thing.
If you
and then
inspire
everyone in
people.
this subdivision was speaking the same thing. You don't think we can make changes in this neighborhood on this street, and then we get everybody in this community
Right.
that goes to the middle school next door doing it? Like you have
I
to start
feel
a
like-
group. You can't. You start with one, and you have to grow.
When they first
But when you have
discovered-
somebody who is one person or one entity that's over all of those people can just say, no.
Well, if the people are
Listen.
never on the same page, you can't get that one person
it's
to change.
better to light one candle than curse the darkness. It's always going to be better.
This is a black thing. I know y'all don't think it is, and I'm going to explain to you why. Though this
Talking
is
about a African American thing? Or like lights?
no African American. This is an issue in the African American community. This is an issue in the African American community, but it's also being seen. I can see the exact same things happening around the world. Okay, so black people can't get on the same page. And never make anything change. Like we want to build up our community and stuff like that, and spend our money in our own dollars.
This
But
sounds
guess what?
kind of like a Nipsey Hussle thing.
Yeah, definitely.
that's
So you got
awesome.
Nipsey,
It's like-
you got Nipsey
If people
Hussle,
can't, if people on his side of the world can't even agree with him,
right?
Yeah.
You got Nipsey
What are you
Hussle,
gonna
then you
do?
got 21 Savage, right? But if both of them were,
I don't know what the fuck you guys are talking about.
rappers, right? So
Oh, okay.
you got one rapper
It's a
who's talking
movement.
about building in your own community and doing stuff like that. Then you got other rappers who are not doing that same thing. I don't even want to say rappers, just black people in
People,
general
black
who want to
people.
build up your community, right?
Support black businesses.
Support black
Yeah.
businesses, bank black, stuff like that. And people like, you got black people like Timbo Slice and Dumpling was like, I'm not going to do that. What's the
Yeah.
point? They going to do the same thing to me. I'm going to go do what I've been
Yeah.
doing and never come together. Then
Doesn't
guess
change
what? That
anything.
black business, that idea of putting money in our community will never happen because people don't want to group together. It's the same thing on a global
Yeah.
scale.
Think
It's the
about,
same
I mean,
thing
like the
with voting.
first person who brought up climate change was like, dude, if we don't stop this, the world is going to just completely collapse. Everybody laughed at them. And it took literally like 80 years for us to take climate change seriously. We knew that the climate was changing and that the carbon dioxide that was going in the atmosphere and the greenhouse gases, we knew scientifically that it was going to change the entire chemistry and the entire existence of the planet, and nobody did anything. And now you see it's a huge movement. Everybody knows what climate change is. Everybody, it's coming into laws. There are entire movements, there are entire countries changing everything that they're doing. It took us a long time, yeah, and it takes a long time. But if you hold firm and you have something to believe in, that is always going to be better than apathy. Apathy is the most dangerous thing in the world. And
Hashtag fake news.
Let me give you a real shitty metaphor. The Earth, the entire Earth. Let's say it's on a collision course with another planet, right?
How is that possible?
Just say it's possible. It's a
it's a hypothetical
Hypothetical.
metaphor.
Gotcha. In an alternate universe.
In an alternate universe, our planet
multiverse
is barreling towards another planet. It's on a collision course, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
In this alternate universe, if we all push on the Earth at the same time every day for 5 years straight, we could avoid it and still survive. The whole planet survive. We missed the other planet. Would you do it?
Some people are going to say that it's a lie because it's easier for them to believe. And that's the same thing with climate change. It's easier if everybody could believe that they don't have to change their entire life and the way that they spend money and the way that they buy things and the way that they eat. Yeah, it's like it takes some effort. So if people have two options and somebody's telling them, "Oh no, it's a lie, it's a hoax," a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, okay, it's a hoax. Yeah, I don't have to change anything. I no sweat off my back."
Well, there's a great George Carlin joke. People that blindly believe in God, but they're the same people that touch the wall because you said the paint has to dry, and they'll touch it like, "Oh, really?" Like they won't believe you. Like, don't touch the wall. It's just we just paint on it. But they're like, yeah.
Would you push on the planet?
Of course.
With my mentality, hell yeah.
Probably not.
No, he would sit on his ass.
I'm telling you, if you don't do this every day at a certain time, the planet's going to explode.
And you know what you know what he would say? No, you know what he'd say? He'd say, "I'll be dead by then."
Why would you bring kids into this world if you know that they're going to perish? You know, and
everybody's going to die.
Yeah, you
I know,
are.
but they're not going to get to live a full life.
This is crazy right now.
Yeah.
Two different conversations.
It's a good one. It's a good one though.
Wait, go ahead.
What'd you say?
It's because like I'm a selfish person. Like I only care about me and my time right now.
Right.
Like I know eventually the world is going to end. Obviously, right?
And if it was 5 years from now, you're okay with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we can't do anything about it.
No, you can't. I just told you, push on the planet.
And what? Last another like 2 more years?
No, we survive. We go around the fucking planet.
We obviously can't survive. It's not going to happen.
Who said we? I just told you. That's exactly what we need to do to survive. I just told you that.
You could live a full life.
Just like they just told you, we have to do something about global warming, and we can survive.
It's just crazy.
It's a fact.
Yeah.
Why won't you believe it as fact?
At the end,
I made up a rule in an entirely different universe, and you still refuse to believe that there's a solution.
It's not convenient.
If we can avoid it right there, then okay.
It's not convenient.
You'll do it. You'll push on the planet every day at 3 o'clock
that's like
to
a
avoid
thing where it's like the planet's going to end right there. Boom.
And that's what we're telling you with climate science is that the planet is going to
a couple years.
Right, it's crazy.
Oh my god!
I'm the type of person where even if at the end of the world I'm sitting there and I'm watching it all go down in flames, at least I can tell myself in my soul that I did everything that I could. And I can die.
All said and done, none of that matters.
No, but it matters to me, and it matters to my life, and it matters because we're here, and like we should be able to reconcile with ourselves.
But we're both dead.
And at the end of the day, what it is that we read all these books and we watch all these movies about superheroes and Harry Potter, and we always think to ourselves like, oh, I would be in like Dumbledore's army to fight the Wizard of War,
villain,
or
100%.
I would be like with the Avengers,
Definitely
or
Slytherin.
I would like right now we have the opportunity in our lifetimes to save the fucking planet and the fucking future of humanity. That's on us. That's on this generation. That's on everybody who is alive today. We have the choice to either join the fucking Avengers, the team that is going to literally save the planet,
but don't they avenge the Earth?
Just fucking watch it die. We have that choice. That's our life. That is our story. And so it's basically like, just think to yourself, like, do I want to actually fucking help save the planet, save the world, or do I want to be on the fucking villain side? And if you do want to be a villain,
I want to sit on my ass and eat Burger King.
But you're
apparently.
my enemy,
and
I will fight you with a sword
to stop it.
Well, guess what? When it does end, if it's gonna end slowly and we gotta fight, and
you call me and say thank you.
No. Don't come to my house looking for shelter to fight from other people because we wouldn't have to be in this fucking situation.
Exactly.
If we would have did something 5 years ago.
I feel like we'll have like a good amount of years. Like,
if you
can I say
are
one
neutral,
thing? Because we need to go somewhere else.
No, I know.
Yeah, we need.
So, I think to kind of close it, make like a final point is, by doing this, it would involve changing most people's lives completely, routines and everything. And
not convenient, lazy people. Sorry,
it's not. And
I don't even think
to play
it's
devil's
lazy.
advocate, I understand why people wouldn't want to do it, but you have to have a certain kind of mindset to be like, yeah, I'll do it, but.
Or it has to resonate.
It's uncommon.
With
you. That's like telling everybody you can't eat meat ever again. I would understand if 90% of people would be like, "Fuck you! I want to eat meat. I don't care."
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, I understand that too.
And that's kind of where it's at.
I'll end it.
So again, that's why money that people can just
momentary. Yeah, it's like
people that have the money right now. they have ways where, this can potentially get resolved. Instead of having 7 billion people work together to fix it, it's like, well, you have, $70 billion to just throw at this.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I'm sorry, go ahead.
But I mean, it's not their problem.
And that's the worst. Okay, I will.
Nothing's worse than somebody that has so much money and they don't do anything.
Because they have money doesn't mean they have to solve that problem.
I will end it on this, and it just makes you think that if you refuse to choose a side, if you remain neutral, then you have chosen the side of the oppressor. It's either you are on the Team Earth, Team Life, Team Survival, Team Human, or you are a fucking villain. That's it. That's all it is. It's everyone's problem. It's not your problem. It's everyone's problem.
I feel. Hang on. My point, and then I'll be done because I think everybody's saying their last little bit. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's either all or nothing, and you know this because it's how I feel about every aspect of life. It's either all or nothing, right? Mm-hmm. Even across the board, you either are 100% for the earth or you're not. I can find many instances where people who are pro-earth, pro this, pro that, and in their life they're making decisions and doing things that are not necessarily pro-earth. Cars, emissions, you're using oil in your vehicle, you're buying gas. We all
can only do the best we can. We have to go to work. I mean, like, what am I supposed to ride my bike 50 miles?
No, go buy a Tesla.
I don't have the money.
What do you mean you don't have the money? Go buy the Tesla.
They're not that.
I'm going to take my family where I can go to Walmart and I can buy meat, right, in large quantities, or Sam's Club rather. Exactly. Instead of doing that, I'm going to go into third world poverty, going down the street to Bo's farm over here, buying his fucking cattle.
No, it's like we all do the best we can. We don't have to be perfect. That's what I'm saying. All you do is the best you can. Some people can do really, really fucking well because they're rich. Other people, if you can't afford to buy meat from the fucking local thing, then don't eat meat
try
to eat less of it,
or don't eat meat 3 times a fucking day.
You just do the best you can.
That's why you can't
eat meat 3 times a day. Everybody eats
lots of people.
A lot of.
I eat 1 meal a day.
I know people.
Yeah, you eat 3 meals of meat.
Bacon and sausage for breakfast, hamburger for lunch, and steak and chicken for dinner.
I know a lot of people
in the hospital.
Yeah, but I had a fucking wrap.
It was a mental issue.
I know a lot of people who.
Well, what about the other 35 years that you've eaten? I had 1 wrap. Well, that's why I was,
But no, I the same thing with religion. I feel like in every aspect, somebody who speaks so highly of one thing, they're hypocritical in one fact.
So you expect people to be perfect, basically?
No. I expect you to, if you're going to be, hating on people because they're not given to the rainforest or caring about the rainforest, then you should be living by your standards.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I can agree with that.
That's all I'm saying.
If you physically fucking can't, if I physically can't afford a Tesla, that doesn't mean that my entire work and my life's work. This is literally my life's work.
But there are other vehicles out there that are 100% electric,
right? And I took that into consideration when I was buying my vehicle. I took the fuel efficiency into consideration because it's an important thing to me. Everything, my life revolves around
oil.
This.
Is in the.
And again, I couldn't afford a fully electric car.
I think what she's saying is she's doing what's
I'm going whole.
I'm going all
in. You're going all the way in.
I'm going all the way in. That's my point.
Nobody does that.
No.
You don't even do that.
He literally expects people to be perfect.
So how are you going to judge other people who don't?
Yeah.
Because if you're going to be that way, you got to be that way.
That's the most
you don't
harmful
do that. That's what
fucking
you're saying.
Hang on. I don't use plastic bottles. I'm saving the earth. But you could give money to this. No. I don't use plastic bottles. I'm saving the earth.
No, you're doing a good thing. Like that's a good thing, and it's not going to erase.
People don't see it that way. Whatever section they're on, they're going to be like, "Well, why don't you give to this?"
No, you were saying that to us.
No,
that's what.
Okay. This is a weird, harmful viewpoint, in my opinion. I've never met anybody who feels this way.
Hi, my name's Tim.
Nice it's weird and it's harmful.
Listen, I don't know. I think it's a good debate to think about.
He knows what I'm talking about.
I don't know. I think whenever you take a selfish stance, dumpling,
it's selfish for sure, and it's. It
can't be right.
Yeah,
it can't be right.
It's
at the
not.
end of the day.
Of course, it's not. It's a greater good.
Enough of us.
Wait, I think a better way to put it, to say what you're saying, you're like. What I can do right now to, provide for the earth is I don't use plastic bottles. And I'm like, awesome.
Good. If that's all you can do,
that's cool.
Awesome. Or even people who are like, I try to, have a meatless Monday and I just try not to eat any meat on Monday. And I'm like, fucking
there is such a vegan
that's
undertone in this podcast. Well, I've been on it twice and we've heard vegan 17 times.
There's 2 vegans at the table.
Jesus
and
Christ.
meat is definitely one of the biggest issues of our time.
And look who's the thinnest people at the table.
That's a low blow.
That's a little low. So you've been vegan your entire life?
I'm going to work out.
You've been vegan your entire life?
No.
No, but I don't eat like shit every day.
Well, yeah, the reason why we're fat is because we ingest large amounts of carbs and large amounts of sugars.
Okay.
It's not because we're eating meat.
No, I eat carbs too, but you don't eat the kind of carbs that are complex carbs.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's not because you're vegan because you look good or you're thin. No.
Well, it's not genetics for me. It's not genetics.
I get that. I'm not saying. My point is that if you don't eat complex carbs, you don't eat sugars, you'll lose weight. You can eat plenty of meat.
Yeah.
You look at the bodybuilders. Guess what they're fucking eating? They're eating meat.
And they're in shape.
And they look fucking awesome.
There's a lot of vegan bodybuilders.
You can't eat meat, but
there's a lot of non-vegan.
There's a ton more.
No, and we're not here to have the vegan debate. And like we've said a million times,
like it is.
No,
you just judged me.
All we're saying.
Messi called me fat for eating meat.
no.
Listen, if you guys
if I was vegan, I'd be
triggered,
No, you can be fat and eat anything.
I was
You can save the rainforest by stop being so fucking fat.
no, listen, if you guys are triggered by like it's a fact that if you eat less meat, that the meat industry is the number one cause of like so many environmental issues.
That's true.
And it's just a fact. So that's like my go-to. It's just like, hey, eat less meat. That's one way we can all help. And we can all eat like less. I'm not asking anybody to go vegan. It's not a vegan debate. I don't expect ever in my lifetime for the world to go vegan.
I think it's already too far gone. I don't think there's nothing that you can do to change.
Well, it's just like a harmful thing.
Says, we're already too far gone.
You're giving up. Why would you?
And I'm telling you, as a scientist, I'm telling you right now.
I feel like it's hopeless.
Listen, Dumpling.
To even try.
Listen, I'm a scientist, and I studied climate and environmental science. And I'm telling you, as a scientist who reads it journals every single day and is up to date on the science, that it's not hopeless, that we have a lot of hope, and that we haven't reached that threshold yet where it's hopeless. I'm telling you.
Timbo,
I get that.
You
but I don't
got
think
kids.
Mm-hmm. Right, that's what I'm saying.
I am ashamed of your standpoint. As much as I know you love your kids, that you wouldn't want to try to give them a better chance in the future, as opposed to accepting the fate of everything just going to be fucked. I'm saying that because that's what I think about when I see my kids sitting here telling me that we're going to die.
I feel like this podcast is very judgy on one stance, and that's. Because it's destroying the planet. No, I know. I'm trying to not have such a downer. I mean, it's kind of nice that we're all hating each other right now.
I think this is a really compelling
But it's different. Like, we could talk about something else and be like, I love these people. It's a different kind of thing.
Listen, these conversations are important to have.
No, I know, but it's just, you know what I mean?
And, it's
if
not
we
an
never
echo
talked
chamber.
about this, it would be completely different right now.
It's not an echo chamber. That's for sure.
Nobody may not change their mind right now, but you may go home and think about it.
Fuck those people.
And I know I sound like...
yeah, and you might come back.
You already are. Yeah, exactly.
And a lot of people probably think I sound really pretentious, but I'm just telling you, this is my credentials. That's why I'm able to tell you with certainty that I know this and I know that. And I think that's all I'm trying to say. It's not like I'm better than you. I don't think I'm better than anyone. I don't think that I'm perfect at all. But I do know that I have an authority on the subject because I do this for my job and I've studied it for years. And so that's why I'm trying to drive that point home is I'm not just talking out of my ass here. I have facts and I want to tell people at the end of the day, and I want to leave them with this, that again, there is tremendous reasons to still hold on to hope. There is hope. If we change and if we accept this reality, there is hope. 100%. We are not doomed. The planet is not doomed.
No, I'm just saying, I don't think there's enough people to even do the change. That's
we'll move along eventually.
We'll see.
Maybe we won't.
I don't know. I'm going to keep on trying.
But if it does,
I do everything I can.
Fuck me.
Yeah.
What's the next topic you got?
Yeah, let's move on. The rainforest. Just read up on it and see what you think. I don't know. Moving on. We was going to talk about...
let's go conspiracies.
Conspiracy theories or women...
Yeah, I want to know about that because I have no idea what that's going to be. Is it going to be another
I'm probably going to rage.
Yeah.
But it's fine.
Might as well. We're already there.
No, let's go for it.
Yeah, just fuck it.
That's like my role.
I don't want to rage it.
No, I do.
Raging is fun.
Yeah, I mean, might as well.
Just go. I'll be quiet.
You say women shouldn't work?
Women shouldn't work. All right. We're going to go with women shouldn't work, right? That's all I said with no context.
You brought it up?
Right.
I know. I'm just saying.
My God.
That's all I said.
Mister wants to save the planet?
I know, you're looking at me like it's something I came up with.
All I said was I want to talk about women shouldn't work. That's all I said. Right. No context, no nothing. You all started judging and thinking and knowing and thinking, what are you talking about?
Well, now I feel different knowing it came from you now.
What are you talking about?
I think it originally come from me, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it probably did.
Yeah, I think we were sitting outside of Andretti's.
Yeah, and he's like, what do you say? Yeah. His wife doesn't work.
Yeah, and my... Oh, you pop...
Dumpling's a sweetheart.
Dumpling
He's a
just got us
sweetheart.
beers and he popped them. So I don't hate you as much as I just did 2 seconds ago.
So my viewpoint is that before I come out as a huge sexist, I'm not saying women should not work. I'm not saying that women should not be employed. What I'm saying is that as a man, if you are in a monogamous relationship and your wife has a child, you should be able to, in your stance in life, should be able to tell her, you can stay home as long as you want. I should be looking at you, not him, because he's not a woman.
Right, yeah.
You can stay home as long as you want, regardless of how long it is. And you should be able to have that choice to stay home.
Okay.
That was his stance.
Right. So you guys want to know how I feel about that?
Let's hear how
I want to tell you how I feel.
Yeah,
Okay,
between y'all
yeah.
two, right? Yeah. So
How I felt about that was
Okay.
I didn't.
some situations people can't do that.
Exactly. I don't think everybody.
Definitely not.
Yeah, why you say you sound like Kermit the Frog?
You sound like Kermit the Frog, and then earlier he made you sound like a woman or whatever.
Yeah, I don't sound that way. Okay, I'm gonna get my voice a little deeper.
I don't sound like that.
I believe as a man. I think. I don't know. I just felt like a lot of people don't always have the luxury. You know what I mean? And I was just trying to figure out what happens when you cannot make that or offer that to that woman. You know what I mean? And I don't think it should be a slight on the man who's out there doing what they can to try to provide and still put themselves in this big hole because they want to, make have their woman stay home,
right,
as opposed to you can help me out when you get a chance because we're not going to make it. You know what I mean? Like when you get to that point.
So my parents grew up in New York, and they both worked 2 jobs, and they had my 2 sisters living in a shitty New York apartment.
Did your mom go home?
No, they both worked. They both worked 2 jobs. Okay. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
right. My point was that what I say is not dictatorship. I don't say that when you get pregnant, you need to stay your ass at home and you need to work.
Well, yeah, you're definitely not the boss of anybody.
That's not the way it works,
Right.
right? In my world, my wife stays home and she takes care of the kids because it makes logical sense, right? During the beginning part of a child's life,
did that give up
woman,
anything she wanted to do?
No.
See, this was the part because when
she got pregnant and she was like, "Yep, cool. You can make the money.
Right.
I'll watch the kids." Or,
Yeah, she was all on board with that.
But this was the thing.
But that's her.
Individual, yeah, for sure.
When you said it, when it makes logical sense,
that made logical sense.
If
For
that
them,
that's fine.
for
That
their
makes
family.
logical sense. If the situation changed around and it didn't make logical sense, you couldn't make the money that you're making now.
Right.
You said then the man just needs to fucking
Right.
do it.
That's
He's failing. You
my
said he's
opinion.
failing
Right.
as a
I'm
man
not going to
if
judge.
he doesn't make a way.
I'm not going to judge you because you can't do it.
Right.
In my opinion, on myself,
Like that's what you
looking
wanted for your
internally,
family.
yes.
Yeah.
Internally, if I cannot provide for my wife and my two kids, then I am failing as a man and I'm failing them as a father and a husband.
Right.
That's
I
how
wouldn't
feel.
say as much
If
as
you
a
You told me
man.
I was
I wouldn't say
failing
as
as
much
well.
as a
Well, it's
man.
like-
because I know you. If I'm looking at Joe Schmo over here and his wife's working at the bag, it's like that guy's a fucking.
I wouldn't
douchebag.
necessarily say failing as a man. I don't think there's genders that are.
No,
like,
yeah, that's
like,
gender
for
roles.
example,
I see it
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, that's
yeah, that's a very-
traditional gender roles.
A man
Yeah.
protects and provides for his family.
Says
point
fucking
blank.
who?
I believe
Their
that.
family. That's
That's
their
just-
family.
That's how it is
Right.
ever
like-
in history.
It's like the
But it's
guy.
not-
I know plenty of
It's like-
women that make more money than their
Exactly.
husbands, like a lot more.
Right.
Right, that's fine.
And
And
they,
not
too.
for their family,
I know
apparently.
them as well.
yeah.
So I have like a quick hot take, just a quick. Okay, so that's traditional gender roles. Some people believe in them, but it's important not to expect them out of everybody else. For me personally, as a woman, I'm obviously a really, I'm a working woman. Imagine that I have a job. I can vote. It's pretty cool.
It's kind of crazy.
When
if
you get pregnant, though, he might take that.
me, so first of all,
Stay your ass at home.
just like a reminder that women, have much more value as people than just vessels for
I was
your
going to say much
seed.
more value than men. I was like, whoa.
No, just
Whoa.
no.
Ooh,
We are equal for sure.
been like, no.
We have as much value as men. Yes, we can push out crotch fruit.
That puts you
But,
ahead of men, in my opinion.
and it
man.
does totally. It's a superpower.
If men had to give birth, oh my god,
it's an amazing thing.
Men
It's
are
an
such pussies.
amazing thing.
I don't know.
I think it'd be different.
We get a freaking
But-
paper cut, and we're like, oh god, I can't go to work.
maybe you.
No,
With that being said, a woman has more intrinsic value than just that. And when she becomes a mother, it is my belief that she doesn't lose the other parts of her. And it is not just all that she is. She's not just a mother. Like she still has her hopes and her dreams and her aspirations and the things that she wants to accomplish and the way that she wants to fulfill her life. And if a woman's dream and her life fulfillment comes from being a stay-at-home mom, that is totally fine and beautiful. And I think that's a great thing. But it's very individual. For me personally, I will tell you right now, Me and Matt are still super undecided if we ever want kids. I love kids, but we're undecided. With that being said, if someday, no, in Matt, I was
he
just
fucking hates kids.
No, Matt, of course, loves kids.
I think kids are cool.
What's the hold up?
No. And if we ever get to the point where we want to have a kid, even if we, for whatever reason, even if we are fucking rolling in the dough, we have more than enough, we're fucking comfortable. Matt's making bank, I'm making bank. Even if that is the case, I still wouldn't want to be a stay-at-home mom. I still wouldn't want to stop my career.
So let's play this out. You have a kid tomorrow, right?
Right.
How long are you taking off of work?
I mean, obviously a long, like couple months probably.
Right. So you can return to work when your kid's like 6 months old?
I mean, that sounds reasonable. Yeah, but at the end of the day,
no, I'm going to say fuck.
My career is always going to matter to me. Right. It's not more important than my child, but it's important to my life and to my fulfillment.
I think it's so 6 months old. 6 months old. Your child is now. You're going to work. He's going to work. Where's your child?
Right. Either they're in daycare and they're in a great program where there's lots of learning and I would go to these daycares to make sure that they're a great place, or they would be with family. And I think that there's nothing wrong with that. And I think
you're right. There's not.
Yeah.
There's not. But the other side of the coin, just to let you know what my insight is that it's important for us, as in me and my wife, for us to be a part of that child's development.
For sure, yeah.
And we don't believe, I know it's norm, everybody does it. We don't believe in having other people raise our children for us. And that's essentially what the modern family does. We are pregnant, you pop out a kid, 6 months later, you go to work, I go to work because, whatever reasons we can't afford it, you want to work. Now we're paying for child support, child care. That child is being raised by somebody else. You have no control over yes, you can go do all your research, but you don't really know people. I guess that's the nugget of truth.
What about when they? What about when they? Yeah. What about when they start like preschool and stuff?
Right.
Can you go back to work then or no?
I mean, sure. That's what my wife's doing. My eldest son just started school at his first grade. He's age 6. Right. Mm-hmm. We homeschooled him up to 6. He's going into school and he's fucking blowing it out of the water because statistics say that if you're homeschooled, you advance a lot faster than you do if you're in grade school.
He's doing fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Way to go.
My kid is amazing.
That's amazing.
Right?
Yeah, that's
now,
great.
if my wife chooses, once Connor, my youngest, is in school, if she chooses,
we love that name.
Right? Yeah, it's pretty dope. Yeah. Connor and Liam. That's even better.
Okay, well, it's not we, it's you.
She's like,
it's not a contender.
Oh wait, never mind. Only me.
Yeah,
that's right. I was.
I know it's a nice name.
I'm sorry.
I
mentioned that one once, and she said no.
But once both the boys are in school, right? If she wants to go back to work, she's more than welcome to.
Yeah,
I'm not going to stop her and say, "You stay at home, bitch."
Yeah,
that's not going to work.
That'd be bad.
She right now she is happy with where she's at, taking her.
That's all that matters,
and that's what we look at. We look at it's important for a mother to be with a child during those developmental years because
it's not important for you as the father to be there.
No, it's more important for me to provide so she can do that.
Can I have a question?
I'd rather one of us be able to stay at home than none of us.
So are you against stay-at-home dads?
Not at all. As long as they can provide, as long as there's providing for the family, that's all that matters. But I will say that a woman has, and I think this goes, I'm sure there's science out here, but when a child cries, a woman's instinct is to assist and help. And nurture, and dad's not. No,
really.
When a dad hears a baby crying, their instinct.
What does he want to punch?
Anger.
Yeah, it really
anger.
Is.
Yeah,
I could actually.
I'm not making this up.
I could understand the statistics.
No, it's probably biological.
If I take my
I'm
personal
not saying you're going to punch a baby, but my point
is
that
your hormones change when you have a baby.
When they hear the baby crying, they go into nurture mode where guys go like, "Shut the fuck up!"
Right, but you can still nurture your child. You're not going to punch it in the face.
You're right. There are plenty of stay-at-home dads, but I feel
they're pussies.
Personally, kind of. I feel like that stay-at-home moms do a better job in those earlier developmental years.
Wait, are you the kind of guy that says when the dad watches the kid he's babysitting?
No.
Oh, thank God.
No, not at all. I watch my kids all the time.
I fucking hate when people say that. But
I would
babysitting
definitely
my
not
kids.
say that a stay-at-home dad is a pussy. I think that they work just as hard as a woman. And if that's their situation, if the wife just has a better job and makes more money and she wants to go to work and the dad is in a position to stay home.
Can I have your definition
that doesn't say anything about his masculinity.
I'm really curious.
Let me say, I think because I'm torn because I see all of the equal opportunity.
That your wife makes more money than you.
Isn't it the same thing as cutting the grass?
Huh?
Is it the same thing?
It's kind of the same thing as cutting the grass, but
it's your child.
Would
you're
you want your
parenting.
wife to cut the grass?
Exactly.
I like cutting the grass.
Okay.
But I wouldn't want you
Whoever wants to cut the grass.
But
I would
want
feel a certain
to.
way if you were doing it. The same way if I had to stay home and watch the
And you know
kids
what
while my
that
wife
is?
went and made them money, I would feel a certain way. Like we can't separate ourselves. We worry about gender roles, which I understand.
Right.
We don't want to pin anybody down, but in all actuality, our genetics has put us in a certain place already.
You know what I think?
So you can't ignore certain feelings that come to you naturally. Sure. And if you stayed at home while your wife went away right after she had a baby to watch the baby, I'm not going to call you pussy, but if you don't feel a certain way, other men are going to feel a certain way about you. You should feel a certain way about yourself.
Right. You don't know those people, though.
I don't know them, but I know men.
You know what I think it is? You know what I think it is? You know what I think it is? I think a part of it, to be honest, and this is going to really raise you guys' fucking blood pressure.
We're prideful.
Is fragile. You're fragile. Your masculinity is fragile.
Yeah.
And
you can look. That's how you choose to describe it, right?
Well, because
what you're talking about is a natural
mowing
thing.
The grass makes you feel like less of a man. That's fragility.
These are all words that you're using to describe something that naturally happens within a man.
So
you can call it what you want. You can call it fragile. You can call it whatever you just said. Whatever you just said. Whatever you want to call it. That's just words used to describe the natural feeling that men who are made to conquer and lead feel when certain things happen.
Conquer and lead.
No.
Oh boy.
Wait.
Yes.
Is it okay?
For sure.
Hold on.
100%.
Hold on. Stop.
I
don't want to forget my thought. Sorry. Does this have to do with how you feel or how I'm going to say evolutionary traits have made men feel?
Well, that's a good point. I like what you
you know what I'm trying to say?
I like
do you feel that way because that's how you really feel as a man, or do you feel that way because the past 100 years of men being men and women, men went off to the war, and then
it's society
things like that.
Evolution.
I have to be a man about it.
I feel like these are things that are natural within you, and the last 100 years are constantly tearing away at it.
I feel like it's longer than 100 years.
It's definitely longer. It's as long as humanity.
Yeah,
no, I know.
I'm talking about the new age. Everything that's going on now is peeling away at men being okay with feeling the way that they're supposed to feel.
Because you're considered sexist if you feel that way.
Exactly. They've been tearing away at it slowly but surely. So it's not. I don't feel that way because of what's been going on for the last 100 years. I'm feeling that way in spite of, because this is just natural to me. It's not what's been going on, but I'm noticing it being pulled out of men everywhere. Oh, it's okay not to do this. It's okay to be this way. It's okay to be that way. And my argument to Timbo Slice was only to be shunned because you tried and didn't win. You know what I mean? Because everybody's going to still feel like a man when they try, but if they fail, it shouldn't be wrong to. And that's what I thought you said. I get you cleared up, but I thought you said it was a bad thing if you cannot provide. I'm just saying there's people that try and can't make it. That's all I was saying. But in all honesty, that manhood shit, it comes natural.
Yeah.
And and nowadays people is manifesting in different ways. It may be manifesting in different ways, but it's still there. So that's why I feel you can't judge somebody if they feel like they need to do this and you need to. But
you also can't judge somebody if their circumstances puts them in a certain position. Like, I understand that. I totally do. I feel like a woman. I identify as a woman. I am a woman, and I want to be able to make good food for Matt, and I want to be able to do this and clean and that. But Matt cooks more than I do because I'm never home because I work a lot.
Cook like every day.
And Matt's a great cook. And at first, that made me feel
reasons?
like sometimes I would for
different reasons.
What do you mean? I work a lot.
I think you want to cook for him for different reasons than he cooks.
Exactly. Like, he cooks because he cooks to eat.
I cook because I'm fucking hungry.
But I will admit, that sometimes I'm
not impressing her, but if I do it as a secondary, okay.
And I will admit,
good point.
There's been times where I've told Matt, I'm like, the reason that I haven't been cooking lately, or I haven't made anything, is because I'm working. Like, I feel like I have to explain that to him because I can cook and I like to cook again, but I don't have a lot of time. But at the end of the day, he doesn't make me feel like that's my job and that I have to compromise my career or what I have going on so that I can cook for my man. So that's good. What I was just thinking though is, if we ever have a woman president. This is obviously a woman who has excelled in her, in her career in politics, and
Hillary Clinton.
No,
I'm not talking about Hillary Clinton at all. But in the future, if we have a woman president, which is totally legal and it's totally possible, would you guys look at her husband as a failure?
It's not his fault. He's the
Would
first
you
man.
guys think that he was a
It just happened
pussy?
by chance.
It's going to be mad jokes. I'm going to tell you that. It's going to be mad jokes.
There's always mad jokes.
There's mad jokes because he wasn't interested in being the president, and it's a symptom of being married to a strong, powerful woman who was the president of the United States.
I wouldn't think he was a failure, but there's gonna be jokes.
Who's your husband?
Wait. Are they going to be like legit jokes or just like comedy? Like,
why is there going to be jokes?
It's just gonna be jokes.
Okay, give me a joke. Would you say that?
How long have there been presidents?
45 years?
Since America was formed.
He just said 45 years. That was hilarious.
I mean, 45 presidents.
For all this time, we've had all white presidents except for one.
Right.
When that one black president came, people made jokes, but not in public because they didn't want to get shot and beat up, right?
Right, because it's racist.
Right.
Because it's racist.
It's jokes are jokes. Jokes can be said and not can be considered racist.
And there's going to be sexist jokes on the
jokes. I mean, I feel like... Never mind.
The first woman president is going to be jokes.
Yeah.
Not because she's a woman, but because she's
the
first woman president.
It would definitely be because she's a woman.
No, it's because she's the first woman president. We have a second woman president. It's not going to be like, oh,
how about
that
this?
guy's a fucking pussy. What is he doing over there?
She's brave. She's strong. She broke fucking barriers. An entire system. I mean, like, I don't know. It's just like...
It doesn't mean... No, because I don't think that one side existing doesn't mean the other side doesn't exist. Okay? Because there's going to be jokes and there's going to be people that feel a certain way about the man. But that same person could also accept that that woman is exceptional or not even exceptional. She did what she was supposed to do and rose to the... And did what she was supposed to and did something historic.
Right, but why can't there be both sides of the coin?
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
You can't make it... You can be sexist, but also appreciate where they're at in the same
time. You can be
respect
sexist.
Yeah. Well, what you would consider sexist, if I make a joke about a woman president... Women, not all women, but I feel like you would be like, you're being sexist. Well, I'm not being sexist. I'm making a joke about what's going on. It's not, I'm sexist. I don't think, well, I kind of think sometimes men are superior than women, but that's beside the point.
He thinks that all.
But
in what?
But in almost every aspect of life ever. But
everything.
But I can make a joke and it not be considered a racist joke just because I make fun of a Chinese person. I don't have to point at you.
No,
or a black person.
The reason
that
you think men are better at aspects of life is because they've had better chances.
Right, is because we've been.
When's the last?
Because you're engaged to her.
No, I don't give a fuck. No, it's not. If she wasn't here right now, I'd say the same thing.
Yeah.
The way I feel is this. I feel like everything should be even across the board, right? Mm-hmm. Flush. If we have equal rights, everything should be equal rights and everything. But that's not the way it is. Women aren't held to the same standards as men.
They're held to like...
Why not?
I don't know. You tell me.
Depending on what
I can't punch a woman in the face. Why can't I punch a woman in the face?
You can punch me in the face. And guess what? I do jujitsu and I'm going to fucking break your arm.
No, listen. No. The reason you can't punch her in the face is because society says you can't.
You're going to get in just as much trouble for punching me in the face as punching a man in the face. It's assault.
No,
you will.
No, you won't. Are you blind?
Okay, so listen to me. It's a cultural thing. People are like, oh, I would never hit a girl, blah, blah, blah. You shouldn't hit anybody. You shouldn't hit anybody.
Right.
A woman who hits her husband is an abusive domestic violence.
If a woman was on the train and she was like fucking with you and hit you, would you just push her? Or do you punch her in the face?
You just sit there and
like, what if you pushed her and she kept coming back?
First off, I'm a huge pacifist. I would just avoid the situation completely.
No, she's coming to you. You're not avoiding anything.
I mean, I'd still feel like
Let me ask you this.
If I'm put in a situation where I have to resort to physical violence, which again, I'm 100% against.
There's a woman serial killer in your house trying to kill your kids.
Then yes, I will hit her. Yeah.
Right.
So that's what we're saying. We're not saying you just go and punch her.
And I'm not saying, is there a separate law for if you punch a woman and you get arrested for assault, they say,
mental law.
It's a woman.
No.
It was a woman.
In the books, no.
Really?
But the police is going to say, all right, get out of here. She left you alone. Leave it alone. I know you're not trying to press charges. They're going to treat it differently.
Yeah.
I'm just.
But there's no separate law. And now you guys know how it feels to be a woman because everything else in society.
It's been going on forever. It's been going on forever. Women have the double standards against them. They have their deficiencies that the society puts upon
everything. It's more than just but we can't get punched in the face because it's.
But that's a part of the man thing. You may have not gotten punched in the face by several guys who may have wanted to punch you in the face because of this thing.
Exactly.
But if you want to punch a woman in the face, it's in my mind.
Why? You about to say what? Say it.
I will, and I will say that it's no different than if you want to punch a dude in the face. Because you're a violent person. My first instinct, even though I'm a very feisty, fiery person, I do martial arts and I'm, not a complete pacifist, is never to punch somebody in the face. I'm just not a violent person and I don't settle disputes with violence. So when I think about punching out another woman in the face, it's unthinkable to me. It's unthinkable to me.
I think we're thinking about with us, but as a society, when we look at videos and pictures and things where people are fighting in clubs,
you're getting it. You're getting there.
If you see a video of a guy punching a girl in the face, everybody around them is tackling that guy. And
even if she started it.
It doesn't matter,
Yeah.
right? But if you see a guy punch another guy, it's like, oh yeah, it's all good.
And I don't think that's. I don't.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not saying that women have
and you know those guys that are beating him up, they're trying to look like the heroes. Like, oh, I'd never hit a woman. I'm going to beat this guy up. It's like, but she started shit.
I'm not saying women have immunity.
She's a bitch.
The thing is that
she's
if
a
you
drunk
ask,
bitch in the club.
if we go out in Atlanta and we were to poll 1,000 people and we ask them, how do you feel about self-defense hitting a woman? All of them are going to say, you never hit a woman. That's what you always hear.
And that's an old-fashioned way to think.
But that's how everybody fucking thinks. Just because you two think that doesn't mean the majority does.
Why do you think people think this way?
Because it's gender roles, and it's just like it's.
Where did they come from? This has not come from out of nowhere. I understand what you're saying about gender roles, but the reality
came
is,
from society.
When humans were created, when we were
right, and I get that.
Men are bigger and stronger
on average, but not always.
On average, but if that average is the average or the majority, I would say the majority.
I would say it's the majority. I wouldn't even say
the majority of men.
I agree.
Are bigger and stronger than women.
But
therefore, for a bigger and stronger person to attack a smaller and weaker person is frowned upon.
So why would she come up starting shit?
Is it just because she feels like she has immunity for sure?
Well, that's
but this flip the situation. You have a skinny guy going against a giant guy. Is it frowned upon for the giant guy to punch the small guy?
I was just going to say that.
It still is. It still is.
Like you quote unquote don't pick on someone smaller.
Yes, it is. Oh, I swear to God, I got to tell you
someone your own size.
Let me tell you about.
Pick on some of your own size. It's not fault the skinny guy pissed
society.
you off.
It's society.
You know Jesse?
I love him, and I would defend him with my life and take a bullet for him.
There was a time in the past that I wanted to beat the shit out of Jesse.
Are you kidding me?
Okay.
Why?
I want to.
He's a gem.
We're not even going to get into it, but I wanted to beat the shit out of him. You know why I did not?
Because he was smaller than you.
He's smaller than me. He's more fragile than I am, and it just wouldn't have did anything for me,
right.
and it would have been looking bad.
Sweet man.
You should have other things in your head.
So I didn't do it.
That are saying not to attack somebody and fight them. You should say, well, because they're,
But that's just not where it works. I'm just saying it comes from somewhere,
right?
And the thing where men are bigger and stronger than women, and the reason why a bigger, stronger man can't beat up a smaller dude. It comes from the same root of someone being stronger than the other. And that's how women got into that position of, no, you don't hurt them because they're smaller and weaker.
It's circumstance.
That comes from somewhere.
It's circumstance, but it's circumstance versus expectation and law of the land. It's circumstance. So, for example, again, to be completely honest, I probably could fight a lot of you and I might win and I might break your arm.
Let's do it.
I might choke you out in 2 seconds because I'm trained in martial arts.
I am as well.
I differ.
I will destroy you.
I'm
Asian, so
I will destroy you. Okay?
After this, I will totally.
Amon's actually
I'm just telling you, I will destroy you.
I will fight.
Amon came at me one time, and it was so quick.
I'm not going to fight you because you're a girl. Okay?
And I would totally fight you.
I know
for a spar,
would.
like
right, but when the cop shows up, he's
going
getting
to
arrested.
jail.
I wouldn't let you get arrested.
Well, he's black.
That doesn't matter.
Well, he's black anyway.
It's not anymore. I'm black. You're white.
I know, and I would
Man,
literally stand in front of you and defend you. But I'm just
White
saying.
privilege shield.
I'm just saying exactly. I would totally take the bullet
We got
for
the
you.
card, dude. It's in my wallet.
What I'm saying is that I am a circumstance. Not every woman, most women, if they get attacked in the parking lot, they're going down. That's why I find it important to take martial arts, so that if somebody does attack me, and I do
Guns don't have heights or weights.
I've thought about getting a gun, and I do carry like several weapons on me, and I'm I know that if a man apprehended me in a parking lot, I probably have no chance unless I have this training and these weapons. I get that. What I'm saying is that it shouldn't be.
Why don't you have a chance if you don't have the weapons or training?
I'm telling you, and I just said 2 seconds ago, if you were listening,
physically superior.
I don't know if you listen to women, but women can grow an entire human in their body, so it's hard to compare. It's hard to compare what we can do. We can all do different shit.
Stop.
Okay,
and I agree
you guys,
with that.
when Matt gets fucking sick, it's basically like, do I call an ambulance? Whereas if I'm sick,
I got sick.
I have a higher pain tolerance than him.
I never get sick,
my
fortunately.
Fucking uterus
But when dudes
basically
get sick,
falls
they
out of my
tend to baby
body.
up.
Our periods are not pain free. They hurt a lot. We do it every fucking month. We are tough. We're fucking tough.
You
okay?
are, for different things.
Exactly.
Can I say one
for
thing?
different things.
Stop.
That doesn't mean you're
Comparing men's
superior.
like physique to a woman, I don't think it's like even it's irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I agree, yeah, men are
it's a
bigger and stronger, but that's just because that's how we're made. But frogs, male frogs are generally a lot smaller than female frogs.
What does that have to do with humanity?
No, I'm just saying.
Because nature decided it.
Exactly.
Nature decided it. So in the
that.
frog community, if they ever gain intelligence,
No, I'm just saying it's
the females
from a different
will be
spot.
like
but it
males.
doesn't mean that the male frog is stupider than the female frog.
Not at all, or superior.
I tell you what, if a female frog beat up the male frog, everybody gonna be like, "Hey,
How do we
what
know?
you doing?
They don't give a fuck.
Stop doing that to that little frog."
No, they don't care. They'd probably eat it and be like, whatever.
I'm just saying, each time they gain intelligence.
I'm saying nature dictated the way that we turned out like that.
All I'll say, it's nature, and of course, there's things that men can do that on average women have a harder time with, even just moving furniture. Absolutely, I totally agree.
But that's because again, nature said we're
that I have
bigger.
to wait for Matt to get home to do, and I can admit that. I'm not saying I'll do it myself because I'm a crazy feminist. That's not what I'm saying. And I'm saying that a lot of the time, on average, men are going to have an easier time surviving combat and war than females.
Again,
and I shouldn't even say females, but women should still have that option because there's some badass fucking women out there. There's some badass women out there.
There are.
And there's roles and everything. So when they're like, oh, but the draft, men are only going to get drafted. I'm like, no, women can get drafted and go into different roles if there's a draft, which there should never be.
Different roles?
Yeah, there's different roles in the Army. Did you know that? There's computer techs.
But why are we worried about the women going into different roles if they're supposed to be on par with the men?
Right. I don't believe.
How do you get your uniform cleaned?
I don't believe in drafts to begin with because it's sending people to die who don't want to die and don't have the training.
Exactly. I don't fuck with it.
Right. So that's a whole nother thing.
Like George Carlin said, have all the people that have guns and that live in the deep south.
That they want to fucking fight.
Send them to the war.
Right, with their guns.
They'll fucking love it. I'm going to kill people.
What I am saying, though.
You got a lot of guns.
I have
and that's
3
fine.
guns.
That's fine.
That's a lot.
Right.
That's not a lot.
Did you know that 10% of Americans own, was it
most of the guns in the world? Yeah.
400,000 guns? Or 400 million guns or something ridiculous high? Like
Really?
10%
of America has 400.
Well, 10% of America has 90% of the guns or something crazy.
What I was just going to say, though, is that we're getting to a point in society where we can look around and we can accept the fact that everybody's different and that some women are going to rise to different roles than others and that some men are going to rise to different roles than others. And I just think that as a society, we are evolved enough to put changing tables in men's bathrooms. If a man has his baby, right now, men don't have anywhere to change their babies when they go out. You can't go grocery shopping with your baby.
I will say that is 100% annoying. You don't have kids at that age, but I have kids that age, and it's annoying when I go into the bathroom.
Totally.
I don't think
I've ever seen one.
They don't have them.
Or at least if I see one, it doesn't register in my brain.
They're in new development that's being built. Those bathrooms have it in there.
Yeah.
But I walked into a Chuck E. fucking Cheese, a Chuck E. Cheese, and I walked in the men's room with my youngest, and I couldn't change him.
Are they in the airport?
I don't fly that often. I don't fly with
they are in the
Chuck E. Cheese and not updating shit. They're selling that same pizza for the last 45 years.
The pizza is pretty dope, though.
That's blatant. But that's society,
Just so I can kind of save some face, I am not a woman hater by any means. I have my
And I'm
viewpoints,
not a man
but I do love and respect all women. First off,
all of them.
Second, yes, all women. I will say,
even the ones that you don't
this
respect.
is going to make me sound like a gay guy, but I will say, my wife and I watch. We're very big. There's nothing wrong with that. You're right. We're very big American Ninja Warrior people.
Okay. That's
not gay at all.
And
That's awesome.
I know. Hang on, I'm getting to the gay part.
Okay.
This most recent episode, I think it was Seattle. Forgive me or Ohio, something like that. But the second and third woman to ever complete a city finals course, which is a big feat in American Ninja Warrior, happened, and I got fucking chills.
Where's the gay part?
It's important because you
had a folk kind of
I have feelings.
It's not Scottish.
Because I have feelings.
That's not gay.
That makes you gay.
Yes.
I have
That makes
feelings.
me gay.
We all have feelings. We're all straight men.
See, that's a sad thing.
That was the society saying, I sound like a fag.
That's a sad thing that men have been raised to not have emotions
and that's
or
why
to not be in touch.
And that's exactly why men are so much higher.
You need to voice up because I sound like
no.
fucking monster.
Hold on.
Like, yeah, Tim's fucking right.
Wait. What you just said proves why men commit suicide vastly more than women.
They hold in their emotions.
They do. Yeah. And it was from society. It was from gender roles. It was like, you should be a strong pillar of strength. We're humans. We all have emotions. And yeah, we can be different gender wise. We can be. It's not always, but we can be. And on average, we are. But we all have the same brain and we all have fucking emotions. And there's no reason why men shouldn't be able to cry. There's no reason why men shouldn't be able to have emotions. That's fucking so toxic.
I'm raising my hand.
You guys are committing suicide. You're not telling people when you're getting raped. You have some issues. And you're very violent.
We do have issues. I just want people to know where we came from. These things that you talk about did not spring up out of nowhere. You know what happened to the weaker men back in the day, in the caveman day?
But it doesn't happen anymore.
Pussy.
They did.
They didn't get no pussy. They didn't have no kids.
Well, they said it too.
And their family,
they didn't want.
and their family died off.
But that's not how it is anymore.
I understand that, but it comes from somewhere. It trickled down throughout the ages and has
just
not been
because it
forgotten.
trickled down doesn't
But we don't
mean
need
it's
to
right.
preserve
I'm not
it.
Look at religion. Just
saying-
because it trickled down doesn't
I'm
mean
not
it's
saying
right.
it's right, but I'm telling
I know
you
that's where it
why
came from.
it's-
That's where
We
everything
also used to
fucking
have
came from.
fucking gladiator battles
But
where
this is
we would
natural.
take the
Like-
kids to go see a guy get beheaded.
I'm not saying this is a mentality that trickled down. This is a natural selection that trickled down. Okay. In the beginning,
Okay.
it wasn't a mentality. It was natural selection for men to be stronger, for women to be attracted to the ones that can give them shelter
But we've
with their
evolved.
strength. I understand, but not as much as you think. Not as much as you think. The majority of women out here want a man who can protect and help them. Period.
Right.
That's what men. That's what women look for, and men look for something shiny that looks good that can give them comfort.
These are
this is
100%
natural.
facts.
Well, think about this.
This is a natural.
You sound like
want.
you sound like
Think about
Steve
this.
Harvey right now.
but it's
Society
real.
plays a huge role too, because back in the day, if you look at all the Renaissance paintings, if you look at cave paintings, one of the biggest things that you'll notice is that women are made very Rubenesque. And do you know what that means? It means they're super curvy, they have wide hips, they've got fat on their bodies. And nowadays, because of society's planted it into our brains, it has nothing to do with our biology. Men want the skinniest women. On
But
average.
that's not true.
On average.
I don't think that's true.
It is true. On average, absolutely,
think
that's the
that's true.
beauty standards.
How do you know?
Of
Do you want a
course
really
that's
skinny
true.
woman?
No.
Do you
I
want a
will
really
tell
skinny-
you,
you want a really
as a woman,
There's 4 men here.
that
We
I got
don't want
hit
really
on
skinny women.
Okay, when I
when
mean,
I
like, I don't want
was
someone
skinny
fucking
and I was
40 pounds.
when I had a fucking, you guys know by now that I had an eating disorder and I was extremely thin.
I know, you said a lot
underweight.
of dudes hit on you,
and I
right?
got hit on more than
Right.
when I was overweight, or even now
Right.
when I'm like a
But that's you. I'm talking
curvy
about
person.
around the world. I think men want a woman with. I'm not saying overweight. I'm not saying, but when you say skinny, I don't know too many people who want a skinny woman.
I mean,
like skinny.
I think you're
skinny
ignoring
woman.
society itself when you like the beauty standard is a skinny woman, and a lot of men want a thin woman.
the
like
magazine standard.
thin.
The magazine, what looks good, but
Right.
what you walking around with on your arm
I think
don't look like that.
I think that's a
It
different
looks
concern.
good in clothes, and models look
Right.
good when they that
On the
Well, it's
runway.
maybe
But
because you
what's-
can't get that.
can't get
Like I'm not saying that
Nope.
you want that. I'm saying that the way that the world seems to be quite apparent is that men prefer the thinner girls.
I'm just saying, all the dudes that I know. I just asked every dude around this table. I have friends that I can call up. Nobody is going to be like, yeah, let me get the 90-pound woman versus the
Okay, that's different than
the
skinny.
130
That's like
or the 145.
Like
They'll
thin.
take
flat,
the 145 and
flat stomach.
just
Flat
saying.
stomach. How about
she's
just
thinking
flat
that,
stomach?
not like you have an A cup and no
flat
ass.
stomach. We just talk about flat
Well,
stomach.
hang on. I think there's a difference between being overweight and obese, right?
Definitely.
So you can
Right.
have a little bit of a gut,
But that's not even overweight.
Okay,
That's
right.
just you have a little
But
fat.
you are
Everybody has that.
technically overweight.
Technically, women should have
But
more
if you
fat than men
like,
anyway.
I don't think anybody wants that woman that's just 100% flat. I think
On the stomach?
yeah.
I mean,
I think
That's crazy for me to hear.
A little bit of jigglage, I think, is good.
well, look at all
lot
of
of people feel
all
that
of
way.
the ads in the world. Even
You
if
know
it's
what
a
I'm talking about.
celebrity,
That's
even if it's a
aesthetics.
celebrity, I'm just saying, even if it's a celebrity, they will Photoshop them. You will never see a stomach in a bikini ad that has anything but flat. I'm not
right.
talking abs.
You are
and
correct.
I do believe personally, and again, we came from different cultures. I'm not gonna lie. I
He's
think
a
a lot
black
of preppy white dudes want a skinny bitch. I'm just saying.
That's probably true.
And it's not stereotypical,
white dudes.
that
might
there's
be.
a
I
stereotype
don't know.
there. But all I'm saying is that, and I'm not saying that that's the right way to have a body either. I think all bodies, need to be accepted.
Well,
but
That's just like saying most
What I'm
women want a guy
saying
that's over 6 feet tall.
is that back in the day, that's what
Because they
men-
think that's what they need.
No,
which-
Matt. In other cultures and in tribes,
I don't think any of us are over 6
a lot of
feet tall.
indigenous tribes will still see women who have more meat on their bones, quote unquote, as a symbol of like prosperity and like a child bearer. And like they will see that as like you look like you're rich because you're not fucking starving. And we're here in Ethiopia. You know what I mean? And it's like, wow, you must have money for
from,
food.
From hearing all this, I feel
So
like
it's society.
I feel like-
Society has a huge.
I feel like it's not how our instincts tell us. It's the $1 billion
It's
people
society.
telling
It's
us
what-
this is how we should feel. Because like, ask any girl, if you're like, hey, do you want to be with a guy that's 5'9" or a guy that's 6'2"? You don't know anything about him. almost 100% of the women will be like, "Oh, I want the taller guy."
Yeah, or like, do you want to be with a guy who's shorter than you?
But see,
because society tells them in every movie and every fucking magazine that dude that's super tall is charming and smart and handsome and blah, blah, blah.
Them being taller than you have anything to do?
But you know,
because it gives you a sense of security. I'm gonna pull the Amazon card out. I don't give a fuck about any of this at all. I know what I like. I don't like skinny bitty bitty girls.
That's you.
I dated skinny bitty girls, right?
Skinny bitty bitty.
I mean like under 100 pounds. I dated girls that are under 100 pounds, and I was never a thin person. God damn it.
Okay, well,
but
this is
I will
all
say
you.
that my right, but I can only
he's
speak
giving
to
his viewpoint. That's fine. Yeah, go ahead.
Right.
As a society, what the rules are out there, I look like Hitler. All the rules that are out there with all this stuff, like I give so little fucks about it.
So then why do you care if dudes are staying home with their kids while their wives are working?
Or why dudes cry?
You only care about
because that affects me. If I
why
cry,
does it affect you if Matt's crying at home?
I don't judge him. I don't call him a queer.
But
if I cry, I call myself a queer. I'm like, God damn, you're being a faggot, Tim.
But why?
Because that's how I feel.
But who made you feel that way?
But hang on.
Why do you
that's how
feel
I feel.
that way?
It doesn't matter.
Why does it benefit
It doesn't
you?
matter. Why do you feel that?
I know. I just want to know what told you to feel that way.
That's really
It's
sad.
built into our DNA.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Sir.
It's not built in our DNA. It's built. It's built in the
DNA.
media telling you to feel that way.
Sir.
Okay, let me.
Wait. What Neanderthal was like, dude? You're gonna be gay if you have children.
All Neanderthals. If I'm like, and he's like, he's a fucking weaker man.
But he's not gay.
That is true.
Thank you, Jesus.
And then when you kill yourself, it doesn't matter. Nothing that you do. It doesn't matter how strong you are.
Let me ask you this. Let me put this out because I think you said something about the 6'2" versus the 5'9", right?
Yeah.
So
it's always 6'2".
Like I said,
6'2".
It always
is.
is.
6'2". That's the perfect height.
How tall are you?
We're not gonna talk about that. We're gonna 5'8". First of all, okay.
Are you 5'8"?
A respectable
I don't know.
5'8".
Hell yeah.
I don't know about that.
I thought we were the same
I'm
height.
5'7".
I'm not the same height as you, sir.
I'm definitely
You got
5'7".
3 inches of dome, shiny. Anyway,
I need a shave.
yeah. So this is what I'm like. Okay, you said about the 6'2" guy, right?
Yeah.
I think this is the aesthetics.
I'm so
is
sorry.
what played is what played up against the woman. Those same aesthetic games happen to align with what's natural.
Okay.
Because back in the day, the fighters, the winners, naturally bigger, stronger men. Weaker men did not win. How many of the shorter men do you think were stronger than the taller men?
A lot.
None.
Yeah.
None.
When you look at martial arts, for example,
There was no martial arts.
We're talking about
That's what I'm
the basis of humanity.
They're
That was
faster.
okay, but then
A lot of the time they're more
evolution happened
nimble.
and things changed.
right? Like we're not cavemen. We have a very
That's why
civilized
I'm
society.
just saying that these things come from a
Right.
place. Why do you think the women still choose the 6'2" guy? Because a taller guy seems even more protective.
Yeah, and then they
Well,
invented
shorter
martial
guy.
arts, and they're like, oh,
That's
even
the
if you're
same
5'2", you
height
can
as
still knock someone out.
If I'm the same height as my woman,
But
and then a
if we're
6'2"
taking-
dude walk over and he's towering over them,
Right.
you think
To
she's gonna
his
feel
point,
more protected
if
with
you
me?
take if you take we'll say a blind lookout, right? You have a woman and a man, right?
Yes.
You're in a bar. They know nothing about each other. We're talking about physical attraction only, right? The woman is going to go up to the guy who's 6'2",
Yes.
before the 5'9",
Definitely.
regardless that he knows jiu-jitsu and taekwondo and he can fucking kill
Black
everybody.
belt, like Matt.
Right? He's a
Yeah.
fucking command wave everybody. Doesn't matter. She's
yeah.
going to go to him first.
Exactly.
Why?
Can I tell you why?
Physical
No,
attraction
I have
and society.
No. I'm going to give my own personal point. This is I kind of was hoping it would come where I can say this. So my whole life, I always thought I should be with a shorter girl because I'm a skinnier dude. I'm 5'9", and I was like, yeah, because my whole life I was like, women want dudes that are that they can encapsulate themselves in. And me being a smaller dude, I'm like, well, if she's 5'2", I can at least feel that way because I'm still like 6 to 7 inches taller than them. But if the girl was like pushing like 5'4", 5'5", they wouldn't have that same feeling because society told me that because every fucking movie, the dude's 7 feet tall and the girl's 5 feet tall. They're never like he's 5'9", she's 5'8". That's not a beautiful movie in the society that tells. So I grew up, I'm like, shit, I got to be with someone that's shorter. Every girl that I've ever met that was like shorter, it never worked out. Amanda's the tallest girl I've ever been with. She's 2 inches shorter than me, and we're going to get married soon. I had to tell myself, even sometimes I still tell myself, like, it's okay. You don't have to be 17 feet tall for her to like her.
He like rejected me at first because I was too tall.
Yeah, I told myself that she was too tall because I was assuming that she thought I was too short. Like, It wasn't that I was too short. It was like she was too tall. And I never said that. Like
I would have never dated someone who was shorter than me.
Yeah.
Like my same height, if I really liked you and you were fucking awesome and you were my same height,
Even then,
yeah, but
even
shorter than me.
Why wouldn't you date somebody?
Because I'm self-conscious about myself. It was all me. It was all me.
But there
I just
was
felt
no
like a
reason to
fucking
feel
tall
that
freak.
way.
Because, and I will say this too, and I was just about to say this, is that back in the day, like I just remember my dad, and like this just being a trope is like the tall girl, like tall blonde, like model, tall, long legs. That's always what guys liked. Tall girls, like, oh, she's tall and blonde. And like that's like the movie thing. And then at some point it just shifted and all the dudes wanted short girls, like a short girl, a short girl,
the aesthetics, the reality.
And it's because it became more prominent in society. Like, what does your height as a woman have to do with your ability to bear children and be a homemaker? If we're thinking biology, you know what I mean? Why do more dudes want a short girl? Even if I was talking to a taller guy, he would still kind of be like, "Oh, you're pretty tall, huh?"
Yeah, everybody thinks Amanda's like
I'm
17 feet tall.
5'7". I have really long legs.
And that's the only reason.
And I've been told by society that having long legs, long, willowy, beautiful model legs, that I'm a fucking freak. That I would rather have stubby legs and be short.
That?
I have been told by so many dudes that I'm too tall. And like
that's their
too
preference.
tall to date. The aesthetics is
too
right.
tall
When I
in
say
general.
aesthetics, I mean the presentation. So, like you said, the magazine covers is going to have the long-legged, tall woman. That's
But then
aesthetics.
nobody wants to date me?
Yes, exactly.
Because you know why? Because
you had
men feel
guys-
afraid,
Hang on, you had guys. You're 5'7",
insecure.
Yeah.
You had guys tell you that you were too tall.
They tell her that every day.
All those guys are pieces of shit.
Lots of guys still tell me, they're like, "You're pretty tall, huh?" And I'm like,
Well,
am
just
I
because you're-
making you feel fucking uncomfortable?
Just because you're tall doesn't mean that you're ununattractive, I feel.
No, I
There's
think that
plenty
I
of
make
really
them
tall
feel
women who are
fucking
very
fragile.
attractive.
I think I make them feel some type of way.
I've dated a woman who was two inches
and
taller.
that shows a lot of
she was a man
security
fight?
in
No,
your
I'm kidding.
masculinity.
I feel that it is
I'm not fucking with you,
pre-baked. To Ahmad's point, it is definitely pre-baked. I feel if I go up to a woman, I've hugged women
what
who
I
are
was saying,
taller than
yeah.
I don't feel necessarily inferior, but I do
Emasculates you?
feel somewhat inferior because she has overtowered me.
No.
Tony Evans. You remember Tony Evans?
I do.
She's a tall bitch.
She is.
I used to hug the shit out of her.
She's too tall. I never
Yeah.
hugged her because she's too tall.
Yeah, no, but you see what I'm saying? Like I love that woman. She's great. But every time I hug her, I feel fucking weird.
Yeah. Wow.
My wife is a lot shorter than me. I can't. Yeah.
No, but I get what you're saying because like,
But that's pre-baked.
no, it was pre-baked,
That's not
and
society,
and
that's
it took me almost
Right, I
5-6
think
years
most
to get over
people,
that, and
like,
now I don't.
Women
fucking
want
think about
a
it.
guy who's bigger than them.
That's what I'm saying.
And
Like
guys want
to get
a girl
over
who's
to get over the
smaller
hundreds
than
of
them.
years of media telling us what it should be. It took me and Amanda. I mean, we almost fucking broke over stupid shit like that.
Yeah. Right.
You know, like when we were first together, it was terrible.
Right.
You know, so I was like, okay, we gotta. If we really want to be with each other, we have to break
Right.
what the fucking
'Cause, like,
media
looks,
tells me.
You know, don't matter to everybody. but
Because
they
I
matter.
see these fucking posts where it's like a guy that's the joke meme post where it's a guy that's 5'11". He's like looks like he's 2 feet tall, and then when he's 6 feet tall, an inch taller, it's like he's 20 feet
Right.
taller.
And that's not right.
And I always had to go like on Tinder. You know, like if you put your height and you say you're like between 5'6" and 5'9", or maybe 5'10", which isn't short at all. They're like, oh, dude, he's fucking short. It's like
Right.
you don't know anything about him. Every tall guy that I've met has been. What it's almost like dudes that are like my height that are kind of just like
it's something you can't help.
they're just
at
like
the end of the
whatever.
day. You can't
but
help
tall
your
dudes,
height.
it's like
I think
I feel like most of the guys I
interesting-
know aren't super tall.
I think it's interesting. You and I are the same age. How old are you?
I'll be
You're
30.
exactly 30. So you're only a few years younger than us, but I feel like we have totally different mindsets than where you're coming from. I've never said
And-
the media has painted this picture and this is how I look at things. Those words.
Can I tell you
It's
the
a
reason?
new mindset.
Can I tell you? Can
We're
I tell you
starting to
why?
realize.
I feel like it's a millennial thing.
No.
It's just putting blame
Listen,
in other
listen.
buckets that don't need to be blamed.
Again,
Go ahead.
you know what you said before about the only
You're a
reason
millennial,
the only
by the
reason
way.
the only reason you're saying this is because of her. A lot of my judgment and views that I have, especially with things like that, are because of her. Like if I was
Right.
with just another 5'2" girl that I didn't have to feel that way with, I would have never evolved that mentality.
Right.
And let's just be clear. I don't force him to believe or
No,
do
I-
what
I-
I
I'm not
want.
saying
she
I'm not
just-
saying you
yeah.
do.
Right.
I will tell you that I know for my years of knowing couples that when you have a couple, one technically kind of not necessarily overpowers and
Teach.
pushes things, but
Right.
teach whatever, manipulates whatever words you want to say, but you kind of
Well, manipulates is like a
align.
bad
They
word.
rub
It
off.
does. You're right,
Yeah.
but you can see it however you want to see
Yeah.
it. But you align so you guys have one voice.
Yeah.
Right. My wife, everything I say about women, I know I sound like a sexist pig. Everything I say about women, my wife says the exact same thing.
Right. There's such thing as sexist women.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I wasn't saying she was brainwashing you. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that if you weren't with her, you might not be saying all
I just said that.
Right.
Because she taught me that.
I'm just reiterating my point.
Yeah, and like you can teach somebody.
No. I was agreeing.
Right.
Yeah, that's why I was kind of saying what you said earlier. So, and we always tell each other, it's a good thing that we had this tension, because I would have gone my whole life with that stupid fucking me being a pussy about it. Like they have to be this height, even though I could have met the perfect person, or I could have said no to the perfect person, which would have been worse. Because I always tell her, like, if I didn't meet you, I'd still be fucking single, and I probably wouldn't be with anybody because. I wouldn't have had to get over that shit.
Do you think still find somebody?
But it wouldn't be.
I don't want to be insensitive, but you're right.
Yeah. There's
millions of people in the world.
Yeah, but
that's what I'm saying. Like,
but you're right.
But
you're right.
For me, like, for me, honestly, I'm almost an all or nothing person with relationships, and you are with things. Like, there's if 8 of those 10 things only align, it might not work for me. You know, so we had to make mentally we're on the same page, but the way I felt about. Not her. I felt fine with her. It's just me. I was like, you're too tall, even though it's like, no, Matt, you're a piece of shit. You're too short. Mm-hmm. But it's like, why would I? It's so rude to tell her, oh, you were too tall.
And I will say,
when I think about it now, I'm like, man, that's really shitty.
Because it's important both to know my views and to also know our dynamic. I would say that you're more of the dominant person in our relationship. And I'm more submissive. I would say that you're definitely the breadwinner. You help me with a lot of stuff.
Not that much bread.
I am not. I don't wear the pants.
Like
I'm a strong, opinionated, feisty girl. But that has no bearing on either of us. I think that for me personally, my ideal relationship, which is what we have, is not 2 halves of a whole. It's not we become one. It's you're my favorite. You're a whole person. I'm a whole person. We're both whole people. You make me whole. You don't make me a half a person. Then he's my better half. He's my other half. We're 2 whole people. Right. If you want to vote for somebody I'm not voting for, as long as they're not fucking super, like you're not voting for Trump and shit, like I think we're gonna jive. If I have no vote,
as long as I vote for Trump,
all right.
We're not. We don't need to be the same person. No, because I wouldn't jive with somebody who has those beliefs. But at the same time,
I don't know if I'd believe that honestly. Like not to steer, but if I voted for like another like. Step above Trump that was Republican, you'd be like, well, are you fucking kidding?
No. And for a long time we didn't agree. You were against feminism for like 2 years of our relationship.
Again, you changed my mind because all I saw online was the fucking media with the red-haired bitches like, fuck men, because I thought that's what feminism was.
And I didn't break up with you because you weren't a feminist. I didn't break up because I'm just saying, I don't wear the pants. I don't control him. I don't make him do anything.
I don't think anybody ever said that. You just helped me change my views.
I will say
we can make each other better. You've made me better in a lot of ways.
I will say, just based on the interactions we have that I've had in this conversation these past 2 weeks, you do seem like the dominant one. You do not railroad. That's a wrong word, but you do kind of take over the conversation and speak over him. Not saying he should speak over you, but it doesn't. I'm just giving my opinion. I don't mean to dick.
Fine. I know I'm feisty.
It does seem like you are the significantly more dominant one than he, and he's the passive one in this relationship.
Right. You'd be surprised. But
then you have the public persona of what happens when you're out and about, and then what happens behind closed doors.
Puts on the dominatrix act, but shut up.
For real.
Yeah, a whip.
For real. No, it's true. It's totally true.
That's fucked up. Stop. Jesus Christ.
It's Daddy
I'm sorry. It's not true. Matt beats no one.
Only Mario Kart.
It's got to be the right time and place.
Okay. Jesus Christ.
Anyway.
All right. So I guess we're going to end it on that. Matthew's going home to go behind closed doors. Who knows what? I don't know. But yeah, this was a fun conversation. I just want y'all to know, hey, the Amazon is still burning. We don't know what to do about it because we don't know where our dollars are going. But
donate now,
or at least research some shit.
Learn
if
more
you
about
care,
it.
if you don't care, you suck. Period. You fucking suck.
Stop using bottles.
No way you can justify it.
Guess,
that's a good start, actually. Really,
it really is.
Start somewhere. I don't know, or just
you don't have to go buy a Tesla.
I'll have you know, just to save more face, because I know I'm an asshole.
He's a fucking dick.
I do. We did start recycling.
There you go.
That's incredible. There you go, dude.
See?
Okay, see,
and that's better than not recycling.
We had a full circle there.
It's good.
It's good.
There you go. So
it's not about being perfect. It's about just doing something.
And to be fair, it wasn't my idea. It was my wife's idea.
Well, good for her.
Yeah. I appreciate the perspective that you bring to our conversation. I really
that's good.
Think
it became more of a safe space.
Yeah.
It is definitely a safe space.
Echo chambers are never
good. Get it all
good.
out, man. Get it all out.
Yeah.
He gets all the drunk thoughts out.
But yeah. We got to keep bringing beers. Beers are good.
Apparently.
I told him that's part of my contract. If I'm going to come, you got to bring beers.
So yeah.
I agree.
Try to save the Amazon only because we're all going to die if it goes.
For real.
And men are not better than women, but men and women are just different. I guess we all know this. I don't know why I'm recapping. I never fucking recap. Check us out on 52s and Smoke YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram. We're on all the publications for podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, iTunes, iHeartRadio, all the yada, 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 Spotify. Follow us, man. Check us out in the Safe Space. We'll be back with another episode very soon. Keep a listen out. We're really enjoying ourselves. Definitely, please interact with us. Hit us up with a comment. You hear somebody that says something stupid, like Timbo Slice.
Bitch, you share the same thing as I do. You're just afraid to say them.
Anybody says something like that, go ahead, comment, blow them out the water. You know what I'm saying? We like the interaction and bring you up on the next podcast. I want to shout out, damn it, I forgot his name. Somebody who hit us up with a comment and said some real disrespectful shit. But, you know.
Honestly, I feel like this, if he listens to this one, he's like, okay, they do disagree.
Maybe.
It was disrespectful, but it was very real.
He basically called us a circle jerk. And I was like, this is the motherfucker here. But I was like, you know what? I gotta be constructive about it. You know, it is what it is. We hear about all the comments. So hit us up. We're very responsive and interactive. We'll talk to you. And yeah, man, keep coming back and fucking with us. Look out for 52s and Smokes catalog. Check us out on YouTube. You'll see all the playlists. The Safe Space has a playlist of all their episodes. Made with Real just dropped. It has one episode. Next episode coming out next week, Tuesday. Fantasy Outsiders just dropped their first episode for those that play fantasy football. Yo, we love y'all in the space. Safe Space. Check us out next week. And remember, I do love you.